Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another live stream here today. Yeah, new ballroom got announced for the White House. Trump's been wanting to do this supposedly since 2016. I thought it was I thought they were going to have 1,000 people. Guess it only has a capacity of 650. Did you see Warren fall today? Yeah, I saw. It's kind of a half fall maybe. Waste of money. I mean, it's privately funded for, there's donors involved, Trump's involved. It's technically it's not taxpayer money. Any news on Greenland? Not that I've seen recently. How's your day been so far? It's been fine. I steal. Thank you for the $5. How do you feel that tariff IEEPA court case is gonna go in appeal court, maybe even Supreme Court? Should we be concerned at all? What do you mean by that? Are they trying to say Trump's tariffs are unconstitutional again? I don't think that's really gonna matter if that's what it is. Is anything gonna come out of the Russian shit? I don't think so, man. I would be surprised if something came out of it. I just think it's fodder. It's fodder to distract from the Epstein stuff. There's not a I just don't have a big appetite for it right now. The Russia stuff. I know the right wing people are trying to really ramp it up, and maybe they'll do something about it. I'm not sure. Maybe they'll try and get someone. If they got someone, I think it would be some lower level executive or something. I don't think they would have got. I don't think they can get any of the big players. A lot of these, it's the government. They're all tied together, whether Democrat or Republican. So it's like, are they really going to go after each other? I guess they went after Trump. Trade deadline was insane. Yeah, I mean, the Guardians really didn't do much of anything. The Guardians are a delusional franchise. They really are. They should have sold and they didn't do much. They traded one of their pitchers, but I saw the Yankees got a bunch of bullpen help. Yeah, I mean my haircut is decent. I think maybe I had the sides cut down too short. I know that's like the look to have the sides cut short. I don't think it fits me as much. I think what I notice with my hair is like once my hair starts growing, it'll get to a certain point on the sides where it's like it's good for like 3 weeks, and then after those 3 weeks, because right now I feel like it's too short on the sides. But when it gets to a point to where I think it's good, it probably has a lifespan of like 3 weeks, and then it becomes too long on the sides, and then you get the rounded look, which honestly I used to really not care about, but I do think if you have a rounded look with the sides as a male, it's not a very good look. So it's like a 3 week lifespan, honestly, if I want my hair cut properly. Because I told her, I said, yeah, emphasis on the sides, bring the sides down a little bit shorter. The appeals court heard the case today for the tariffs, but most of the judges are Dems. Been a bit concerned about it, ruling next month. Yeah, but the thing is with the tariffs, I mean, the tariffs themselves are a negotiating tool for Trump. That's how they're being used. And what are you going to rule a 20% tariff on a country is unconstitutional? That doesn't even make sense. I mean, they might have a case if Trump had levied the Liberation Day stuff where it was like a 500% tariff on certain countries. You could say, all right, that's a bit clownish. If you're calculated with tariffs and it's part of negotiations, and I mean, Trump just raised the tariffs on Canada to 35% because it's negotiations. That's what it is. Trump wants things out of a trade deal that the Canadians are not giving Trump, so he's going to raise their tariff and basically force them to succumb to it. There is no like, oh wait, time out. we're going to disrupt your strategy because it's unconstitutional. Well, the strategy necessarily probably isn't even to keep the tariffs on, and obviously it wasn't in a lot of cases because the tariffs got lowered on many countries. I mean, he put 145% tariff on China. You know, that ended up getting lowered. What are you going to call that, unconstitutional? It doesn't even make sense because it's not even a it's not even a like a prolonged thing. So that's my thought on that. I don't think they're calling something unconstitutional. It's a strategy. And the tariffs that stay on at a 20%, 30% rate. It's not 90% or 100%. There was an old vlog about lemon trees where your hair looked like that. Yeah, that was when it was like really long. I don't like getting it that long. I mean, the thing is, when your hair gets longer, it becomes less. There's less volume in you have less volume. You know, when you cut your hair shorter, your hair is a lot fuller. It looks fuller. It's because when I have longer hair, I have to part it to one side. Normally, I part it in the middle out, um, for reasons. But no, it's you don't have to do that. You don't have to part it because the hair just basically sticks up when it's not long. When it gets longer, the hair is actually there's less volume to it. And if you understand, some of you probably know, but that's what you realize. What's your take on Trump doing sports today because it's irrelevant? I don't know what you mean by that. Trump's doing sports. I didn't see any of that. There's some stuff with Kamala Harris possibly running. This is a total joke. I don't know if I don't think she will run, but she's doing the whole grift that she's gonna run. She did the whole, oh, I'm launching a book now. 107 days. I wasn't given enough time. If she had more time, she would have won. That's probably what she thinks. So now she's not running for governor of California. Who do you think will win the World Series? I don't know, man. I mean, you would think the AL is really weak this year. The American League. It's probably going to be I would say this year it's probably going to be a wild card team out of the AL. It feels like a year where it's a weak league, and I mean, I guess the Mariners, if you wanted to be bold about it, they got some help at the deadline. Maybe the Mariners come out of the AL. The NL, it's like boring. It's the Dodgers, and the Braves are terrible this year. The Phillies, I guess, but dude, how many times are we going to see this in the NL? It's like the same four teams every year. The NL really is starting to have that issue. It's like it's constantly the Phillies, it's constantly the Dodgers, it's constantly the Padres. Normally it's the Braves, but this year they're not good. The Mets also make it a decent amount to the playoffs and not to the World Series. Nobody's going to donate to her. Yeah, that's what they were saying on why she's not running for governor. She's just not going to have the money. She just doesn't have the money to do it. Nobody's going to waste money donating to her for even the governorship role. But let alone, I mean, she ran in 2020 and it was a complete failure in the primary. You you doubt Trump would pardon Giddy? Yeah, did you see that? Or did he? The Diddy, it's really strange that Trump is considering these pardons if he actually is. I mean, it just makes it look worse with Diddy or Ghislaine. So we'll have to see. He probably just said he would look into it at the time. I don't know, man. You'd think you would have a more prepared answer than that. But I don't know. It's hard to speculate on any of this Epstein stuff. He's just all over the place. Yeah, the Padres, dude, the Padres are a weird team because they somehow always have these just random prospects that become top 10, prospects overall, and then they just immediately trade them. So I mean, I guess if you can get them, they get like these are like foreign international signings. These guys become amazing, and then they just ship them off at the deadline. Yeah, this was a crazy clip about this ride. It's almost like AI, and that was in Saudi Arabia. So it's normally you see stuff like this. If you're ever going to see something like this, it'd probably be at like a state fair where they constantly move the equipment from one city to the next. I'm not sure what the situation was here. Did you use a two clip? I don't cut my own hair, man. Did people die? I heard three people were in critical condition. Yeah, somebody asked me about censorship on the Child Safety Act, giving private information to confirm your name on YouTube. I tweeted about that. That's a real strange one, man. That does not sound good to me. And it's one of those, well, you want to protect children from YouTube, but it's you're opening a can of worms, and it's not something that we would like. So it'll be interesting to see how that's implemented. Well, what about like them using AI somehow to detect? I don't even know what that means. They're going to use AI to detect if somebody's under the age of 18 on YouTube. Is that what it is? Sounds like Europe shit, not America shit. Yeah, that's what I think as well. But they've got their own thing. The UK just passed something, and it was originally the same, basically dressed up in the same way. It was a law that was supposed to protect children, and then it turned out, oh no, this is something to where they're banning a bunch of different stuff, and it's a wide scale thing. It was originally a conservative party initiative that they wanted passed, and then the liberals took it and they changed it and they made it very overreaching, let's just say, in terms of the stuff that they were able to censor. But the UK is doing some really odd things. They lowered the voting age to 16, but they're taking like the internet away from young people. So it's just pure state propaganda. We're going to lower the voting age, but then we're not going to allow them to view different opinions. I mean, that's not good. Are you planning to do a new college football stadium ranking video? Probably no, I'm not. It's just too long, and the channel is not in a place to where I don't think that would do very well, and yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, Harrison Butker was there. That's probably why he was talking about Trump raising tariffs on Canada 25 to 35%. Yeah, there's going to have to be a deal. The Canadians are going to be forced to the negotiating table. Gavin, I'm sure Gavin Newsom loves this, getting more attention for gerrymandering California as a way to fight back against Republicans. There's a lot of gerrymandering talk right now as they're trying to draw new maps for 2026. Republicans are trying to do it. Now they're trying to respond. I think it's a lot of empty threats from Democrats, from what I understand. They can't really do much about it because they've got all these independent commissions to deal with. They've gerrymandered their states as well, anyways. In some cases, even worse than Republicans. It's only to keep kids from committing suicide. I know that's how it's always done, though. It's always based off of safety. That's how they always take your rights, is through the guise, the camouflage of safety. It's how it always happens, no matter what it is. And in some cases, I guess you could say it's because in some cases it actually makes sense in terms of like, certain obvious things that you need to do to have a safe society, but then there becomes other things and it becomes a gray area in terms of, is this really necessary in terms, it's infringing on our rights. Does it really make us safer? What the fuck is the Lions Chargers game? Yeah, I'm surprised they're playing a game in July. Back they changed preseason. Now it's only 3 weeks. It used to be 4 weeks. But they do have the Hall of Fame game early. I don't remember it ever being in July though. That's a new one for me. July. But the preseason games are they used to be a bit better when I was younger. Now they just, you'll get a lot of these players with any sport now. It's fully optimized. They're obsessed with like, oh, we can't have a single injury. We can't risk anything. No. So they don't even play a lot of their players in any of the preseason games. They used to always play. The bulk of starters would play in the preseason game number 3. Child Safety Act is coming to the United States. Yeah, that's what we're worried about. Trump talks about what's happening in Gaza.
Taylor Greene has said that what is occurring there is a genocide. Do you agree?
Oh, it's terrible what's occurring there, yeah. It's a terrible thing. People are very hungry. The United States gave $60 million for food, and it's a shame because nobody, I don't see the results
Ludnick
of it.
is there.
And we gave it to people that in theory are watching over it fairly closely. We wanted Israel to watch over it. Part of the problem is Hamas is taking the money and they're taking the food. But we gave $60 million a couple of weeks ago. Nobody said anything about it. Nobody said thank you, but I didn't need the thank you. I just wanted the people to get fed, and we're helping out financially with that situation. It's a terrible situation. So just to conclude, I want to thank everybody for.
Taylor Greene has said that what is occurring there is a genocide. Do you agree?
Yeah, Trump gives a lot of non-answers about what's happening with Gaza and the Middle East.
She's not going to do it. What do you see in her political future, sir?
Well, she can't speak. She can't talk. She can't do an interview. I thought it was a very strange campaign that we had. But, I had 2 of them. We were up by like this massive number of points on Biden, and they said, let's change to Kamala. Nobody knew who Kamala was. Nobody knew her last name, Harris. They said, we're going to get Vice President Harris. Everyone said, who the hell is Harris? They only knew her by the first name. But no, I thought she was a terrible candidate. Look, don't forget, she didn't really get the nomination. That whole nomination was strange. She was the first one out. She took a good amount of points with her when she announced, but nobody knew her. Once they got to know her, she dropped out very shortly after she started. And she started with a pretty good, she was like in second or third place. But I don't know. I wouldn't call her a skilled politician. Would you?
The thing is, this is the thing with Trump. If somebody asked me about Kamala, I'd just be like, I really don't care. But Trump does the whole 3-minute thing, and it's almost like you're just giving her attention. Like, what's? But I guess that's what he does.
Now the book, any plans to buy it?
I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to buy it. I'd love to see it. No. I'd find it. Look, I find everything in politics interesting. I sort of enjoy politics. She wasn't.
It's a terrible situation, but we won't stop funding and arming the attackers. I mean, that's basically what it is. And also allowing them to annex areas potentially.
A skilled person. You know, you have skilled politicians, really skilled politicians, and then you have some that aren't. And she was put in a very tough position, I think. She did have a 6-week honeymoon. They were told me, the pros said, you know what, she's going to have a 6-week, and she did. She was like untouchable in terms of everybody thought great. But she didn't do any interviews or anything, which was strange. Not even friendly interviews with friendly reporters like her right there, really friendly reporter. And you know what happened? People said, what's wrong with her? Why isn't she doing? She made a mistake. She should have done interviews. She didn't run a great campaign, but we beat Biden, and then we had to beat, nobody's beaten two. I had to beat two. That's like Dana White, the great Dana White has a fight, and he has a fighter that's getting the hell knocked out of him. They say, well, let's take him out and put somebody else in. Didn't seem fair to me at the time, but where are we? We're in the White House. So, I mean, you know, so it worked out.
If I may, sir,
Jerome Powell.
It was a mistake. I put him in, and then Biden extended him. And Biden only extended him because he knew I couldn't stand him. And that turned out to be not a good thing for Biden. Although he did lower interest rates just prior to the election. Didn't work out too well for them. But he did lower them pretty substantially just prior to the election. No, he's a political hack. Not very good. He's not a smart guy, Brian.
Mr. President, sports fans have been very supportive to go back.
Sports fans.
Why didn't you invoke this law in your first term? You could have taken in billions upon billions of dollars in your first term, but you waited until your second
Yeah,
term.
because in my first term, I was fighting lunatics like you who were trying to do things incorrectly and inappropriately to a president that was duly elected. And we did do certain tariffs in the first term. If you look at China, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. But when COVID came, the last thing I was going to do is tell France and Italy and Spain and a couple of other countries that we're going to hit you with tariffs. We had to fight the COVID situation.
Why didn't you invoke this law?
Presidential fitness test back in American schools. I don't remember having the presidential fitness test. I don't remember that. There was a test that they would do for us in elementary schools, but I don't think it was called the presidential fitness test. Maybe it was, but I was trying to remember if I ever... I don't remember that. Libs calling Trump Sleepy Don. Yeah, I think he did. He did look very sleepy during... I think someone else was talking. He might have closed his eyes for a few seconds. It was around the late 90s. Yeah, I was going to say, I think I would have remembered that if we had that.
Very excited to be here. Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to serve on the council. Just excited to do my part to help make America healthy again, to help our youth be healthy and thrive and grow up and be great citizens of this country and be great family members and contribute to this great country. And I think you have to be strong in mind, in body, and soul. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Proud to be on this team. I don't know why. I don't know what we're supposed to be doing, but I'm here to serve, and I'm here to serve you. Okay, so I'm gonna do the best I can for as long as I can. Thank you very much.
Important things for our country. Nobody knows LT, right? LT, greatest ever. Lawrence Taylor. You look good. You could play right now, I think, LT. You only look that way. Well, I'm delighted to be here with some of the truly great sports legends of all time as we formally announce the newest members of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. This is an important step in our mission to make America healthy again. It's something that's very important, what we're doing, very important. Dating back to the administration of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, this council has championed the vigor and strength and vitality of the American people. Today, we continue that very proud tradition. This group is led by two-time major champion and one of the greatest players in the world, one of the highest ranked. And
Yeah, someone else, he said he sounded a little bit sick. Kamala Harris going on Colbert tonight. Yeah, I don't understand the whole thing with like these, you know, they had this rally because Colbert's show is getting canceled. And like 12 people showed up, but I don't understand the point. This is a talk show host. Why is it this huge, horrible thing that his show is being canceled? This is a multimillionaire talk show host who's famous. Why do people have to go out and on the streets and protest a talk show host? It just seemed like such an overkill. It seemed like such ridiculousness. Thoughts on... Man, it's like I swallowed that weird. Thoughts on Canada tariff increase? It's just it's a negotiating tactic. Ron DeSantis orders USA and state of Florida flags to be flown half-staff. Declares August 1st Hulk Hogan Day in Florida. Joey Swole will not be too happy about that. He will not be happy. Colbert is a very popular social icon. Obviously, he's not too popular. They got like 13 people out for the protest. They like bust 13 people in. Thoughts on unemployment rate announcement tomorrow? I don't know. I haven't seen what it's projected. You know, if it comes in lower, that'll be another reason for them not to cut. So it's like a double-edged sword, but we'll see what it is. Mumblewick, thank you for that. I appreciate it, man. What's the deal with Joey Swole? Did you see that? That you should watch what happened to him. He, you know, I never ended up doing a video on that, but my take on that was, so that's a dude that calls out like bad gym etiquette. So it's really not political. So what's going to happen is you're going to acquire a fan base that's both liberal and conservative. You're going to have people that are further left, further right. And you don't do politics, you're just calling out these people for filming at gyms, you know, now with social media. Now with social media, everybody wants to film the younger kids, and it's really distracting. People are just trying to work out, and so he calls out people and says people need to do better. So he's got a contingent of liberals and conservatives. And then Hulk Hogan dies, and he does some type of tribute to where he's like, this was my favorite wrestler growing up, just like so many other Americans who loved Hulk Hogan. So he just says as a wrestler, you know, he loved him. And so obviously now for very far, you know, liberals, far leftists, it's going to be politically charged because they hate Hulk Hogan. They say he's this terrible racist, everything. And so they come out and they bully Joey Swole into some type of apology. He puts out an apology. Then he says, I'm done for good. This is it. And so it's just interesting how, you know, you've got someone who's really not in politics, but it's not even a political thing. It was just Hulk Hogan. And obviously he is very simple-minded when it comes to politics for immediately giving into those, you're the socialist type, the socialist liberals who say, how dare you honor him? He's a racist. You can't do that. Well, what are they going to do to Ron DeSantis? Ron DeSantis now has a Hulk Hogan day, so it just goes to show you you got to have thick skin on the internet. But it is in a way kind of ironic how this dude, and look, I'm not saying the people that he calls out are good or anything, but this dude obviously sends a lot of hate towards random anonymous people at the gym, and then they get flooded. Their messages are really negative. They get flooded with hate comments, and then he gets hate comments, and he immediately says, "I'm done with the internet, and I'm done with content creation." It's like, dude, really? Did you see Trump imposed? No, I didn't see that. Brazilian law. The current administration there hates free speech. I know Trump's been going at it with the current administration. He apologized for the racist rant and then got baptized. They gloss over that part. Well, there is no, with those people, there is no redeeming, right? They just constantly need to be in a state of being angry and everyone's a racist. But it's never far enough either. So that's the thing that people were saying. You apologize for it. It's not going to be good enough. At a certain point, they're always going to get you. Thoughts on Cash going after Hillary and Obama? Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it's a wait and see mode with that because they go after him. It's like, is anything gonna come of it? I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I guess we can look into it, and there's some interesting stuff there. Did you see the Alex Jones Nick Fuentes debate? I just saw the clips. I didn't actually watch it. I saw when the fly landed on Alex. Remember when Alex was talking about flies landing on Obama and Hillary? Because they smelled like sulfur. No, there was a fly on Alex, apparently they said, for 3 minutes during the debate. Is Maxwell getting pardoned? It would be a very bad look to do that. I can't see that happening. I mean, there might be something to where they lower the sentence. I mean, that's even a bad look as well, but I don't know. Yeah, this is all the redistricting, redrawing the congressional maps. And we'll see what I mean, it just depends. It's a wait and see to see how the Democrats respond. But also Republicans are going to be redrawing in Ohio, Missouri possibly as well, Florida possibly. His racist rant wasn't even that bad. It's just, yeah, I think they got him on clips, maybe saying the N-word or something as well. I think there was a few different things. I don't know. But it's something like that. But also the other thing with Hulk Hogan is he came out and endorsed Trump, and so they're going to hate that, and that kind of just adds to it for them. Did you hear that Epstein's thing is now over? I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean Epstein's thing is now over? I'm not sure what that means. When is the crypto pump coming? I don't. We gotta wait. We're gonna have to wait a bit. I think we're gonna have to wait. It's been pretty boring. But I mean, hopefully the heavy pump comes in the fall or the winter. I mean, yeah. Did he just come out against interracial dating? I don't understand that. No, I think it was something else. It couldn't just be that. The case of Epstein was over. There was no evidence. Again, I don't know what you're saying, man. I mean, I don't know where you're getting that from. Did you see Oprah not open her roads? Well, that was a whole lot to do about nothing, I believe, right? That tsunami that was supposed to hit Hawaii because of the earthquake. People were saying that was going to be really bad. I mean, I'm happy nothing happened, but people were talking about that like it was going to be bad. Trump not happy with Josh Hawley. Yeah, something about the insider trading. They're debating that. I mean, they're going to have to do something about it. They're going to have to do put some type of restrictions on congressmen trading stocks. The Hulk Hogan thing was just him ranting about his daughter dating a black guy, and he said the N-word during this rant. Okay. What's the thing about the Eagles wanting a roof by 2030? I don't think it would be by 2030. I think it would be probably by 2033. Unless you got a new article. But I think it's because, you know, their lease is up, that's why. Epstein, not over House Oversight Committee has issued subpoena compelling Maxwell to appear for deposition on August 11th, federal prison. So they got another interview with Maxwell basically on August 11th, so in 12 days. Yeah, I mean, I wonder what's going to come of that. You know, I've thought that maybe they're going to release things related to the files and they'll start releasing stuff. I mean, if they release stuff, the problem is, you know, there's no trust in the DOJ. So if they release stuff and it's not, you know, related to Trump, they'll just say, well, you're covering up for Trump. So it's like, well, what do you really do? I mean, it's already been leaked that Trump is in the files to a degree, but I mean, that doesn't mean that he's guilty of engaging in the trafficking or anything like that. Tom Cotton, yeah, he seems like a neocon. Thoughts on Randy Fine? Well, I think Israel disavowed him. It's almost like he was it's almost like he's trying to paint Israel in a bad light, Randy Fine. They was like, you're going too far. This is a bad public relations thing with how far he was going with the support of Israel. It's like a caricature, right? An overweight dude who's like obsessed with Israel and do you guys acknowledge that Bondi told Trump was in the files right before the investigation was shut down? Well, it wasn't even that. It was apparently Trump was told in May that he was in the files. I don't know when it got shut down. What did it get shut down in July? But they was reported that Trump was told he was in the files in May. But again, the thing is, it's nuanced. It doesn't mean that I mean, it's not surprising he'd be in the files considering there was a past relationship there. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are in the files. The files are not a single piece of paper that said X, Y, and Z engaged in assault against young girls. That's not what the files are. Cincinnati police chief is disgusting human being. Yeah, and you'd think that we would leave that, but that's how that woman is the leader of their police department. I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, it's like we keep doing this, but that's a very liberal city, Cincinnati, and, you know, she comes out and says, well, I still don't even know the full story. She's like, you don't know the full story. Okay, lady, then give it to us. If what we saw was the reaction, well, then why don't you give us the full story? and I still haven't heard the full story. And I saw some people trying to say stuff like, "Oh, he said the N word" and everything. And that's always what it is. They always say, "Oh, he said the N word," so that justifies me beating him to death, or almost beating him to death. But it's like the same thing every time. Women shouldn't even be cops, period, let alone chief. Especially when you're out patrolling, because that's a physical job. Being a police officer is a physical job. If you're chasing someone down or you're having to wrestle someone, that becomes a public safety problem. Because as a police officer, you're going to have to contain someone. Maybe they're a threat to the public. Obviously, if it's the suspect is a male and the police officer is a female, it's going to be very hard for her to control the suspect. This is a very common, easy to understand situation. Will the 35% on Canada be permanent? Oh, no. It's not going to be permanent, man. There's going to be a deal. I don't think Canadians can afford that. I don't think they can afford dealing with a 35% tariff. And where's their retaliation? See, if they could afford it, they would retaliate against us immediately. And they already tried to do that. Remember back in February, when Trump started the tariffs? No, I think the deal gets struck whenever, maybe tomorrow. But you know how it is with Trump. He constantly does this to where he pressures these countries and then a deal will get struck. So I don't think it will be permanent. I'd be shocked if it was. Maybe it takes a week or so, but I think it'll get worked out. Did you see Powell yesterday? Yeah, it seemed like a troll of Trump. He said we can see through inflation. There's a new one. I don't even know what it means. But it's obvious he's trolling, and yeah, it's just now we've got the thing to where Powell's alienated himself and Trump is constantly ripping Powell, and we're gonna have to deal with this. So this will be annoying. It's gonna be annoying. I mean, we don't even know if there's gonna be a cut in September. So it's gonna be this belly aching about Powell this entire time. So Elizabeth Warren clip. I mean, she barely fell though. Like, I'll go to it. She like backed up into a stanchion.
Senators voting in the affirmative: Baldwin, Blunt Rochester, Durbin, Heinrich, Hirono,
Dude,
Kane.
man, how old is Congress? It's just like
Senator.
Powell didn't start this fight. Trump did with their rivalry. Well, I think what happened was it goes back to September when he lowered it by basically 2 cuts in a single meeting, because he lowered the rates 0.5 basis points, not 2.5, 0.5 in September, and so that probably irritated Trump. And then at a certain point, you know, Trump he's got a big personality, and so, but to me, it's one of those things to where I do think they should cut. I don't think they should be at 4.5 right now, based on the indicators, based on our economy. I think 4.5 is too high. Now, Trump says 1. I think that's a bit, we can't be doing 1 right now, because we got to wait a little bit to see how everything reacts to the tariffs, but they should be lower. There's no real justification for that. Well, there's really justification for the rate cuts to be at anything, because there's so many different indicators you can look at and you can kind of explain your way. But you could have 4.0 interest rates. I think it'd be fine. Woman jabbed Ben police. I mean, women have been police for years. and there has never been a problem with females chasing other people. Yes, there has. You need to watch some police cam. You need to watch body cam. There are problems. Of course there are problems. And it's nothing against them. It's just there's a clear difference between males and females in terms of strength and agility. But there shouldn't be any fight. The Fed is supposed to be independent, apolitical. Powell just can't decide to not cut because he doesn't like Trump. I know, but they'll argue, well, it's a one-sided fight. It's just Trump. We know that Powell is doing this out of spite. Powell has hinted at it when he has these meetings. He says things that obviously are meant to get a rise out of Trump and to troll him. And he says things are still inflationary when it's obvious in comparison to, the previous 2 years, the inflation is tamed. It has tamed. It's not going to be at the 2.0 that they want, because they look at core inflation. But what is it, 2.7, they want it at 2.0? I mean, $2.7. Pelosi Tapper. Yeah, I did see that clip of Pelosi talking about insider trading. Pelosi Act. The Insider Trading Act. She has a net worth of... Nancy Pelosi has a net worth of $500 million. Is that true? I mean, come on. Like, this is just clownish.
Yeah, it was. But let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yeah, but I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider. But the president has his own exposure, so he's always projecting. He's always projecting. And let's not give him any more time on that, please. We're going forward here, and I'm very proud of my family. And while he might make fun of us, while somebody inspired by him breaks into our home and hits my husband in a deadly fashion, hits my husband over the head, and he thinks that's a riot, I'd rather not go into some of my other complaints about him right now. Rather,
the Paul Pelosi thing. So she brings that into it. But I mean, it's just the subversion, not being able to answer the questions. Come on. We know what's going on here. Nancy is glad she got her insider trading while it lasted, right? I mean, she's already made her money. Truflation currently at 2.04. I mean, that's impressively low, 2.04. It's been a godsend with energy. That's what keeps that down. As long as energy stays down, the truflation. Imagine if that was core inflation. They'd have to cut if that was core. Yeah, she said that the attack was she said the attacker was like a Trump supporter, which is not true at all. That guy was a wacko. but I don't think he was a Trump supporter. They would have definitely used that, like if he was a hardcore MAGA guy. David Sachs, thoughts on him? What the cryptos are? Yeah, that does look very nice. A lot of natural light. There's some skylights you can see. There's one skylight right there. There's one skylight. You've got a lot of pillars. A lot of high ceilings. Interesting ceiling design. A lot of grandeur. Looks like the Titanic. The ceiling design does a little bit. I was thinking about that. Yeah, not fully. Maybe like the first class dining, but there would be more like walls, I think. The white color reflects light. Yeah, the white is pretty. That's the thing. It's like, I went into a white home to tour it. It was it was basically all white. Not for me personally, for someone else. Yeah, I don't think I would like white in my home. I don't know. I know it's good for natural light and stuff, and it's very bright, but there's something aggressive about it. With like white, if everything is white. It's privately funded. Yeah, it is privately funded. But there's some donors. Obviously, there's behind the scenes things that happen. If there's going to be donors and Trump's the president, there's things that they're probably going to get. So they can say what they want. Just say it's privately funded, because it is privately funded. I mean, it's Trump and donors. As far as we know. $50 says it's AI. They didn't pay a design. No, Trump with architecture. They definitely did. That was definitely professionally designed. Yeah. Do you have any Super Soakers? Oh, when I was younger. They said this was a worker.
Beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. £200 off.
So this is not a worker.
We've got millions of free child place holidays available, with 22 kilograms of baggage included. Book now with Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person.
Was that the Denver airport? The Denver airport is massive. Hey, Frank, what's up, man? Yeah, so this is where it is. That's where the windows would be, right there. That's where the skylights would be. I don't know why they got it like when it's so it's like it's snow covered, or is it just like it's a weird outline thing? It's like everything is snow covered. Ben Johnson, thank you. They did pay a designer. Well, thank you for the $50. I appreciate that. I can use that now. Now I can pay a designer. Palantir funded ballroom. Well, I mean, it's funded by some type of private money. That's the third temple. No, it's on Epstein Island. You see that the singular building on Epstein Island. You're a designer? Yeah, this is an impressive design. I mean, people get angry. They're like, well, why is this at the White House? The thing with the White House is, I've read some articles that whenever they host more than 100 people or 200 people, they have to put up tents to host them. So whenever people come in, foreign people, they it's very sloppy. It's a very sloppy way to host people. So you don't want to host people at tents. And Trump had said that he had talked to Obama, or he had told them he wanted to design a ballroom and he'd pay $100 million for it, and they ignored him. So it's been a long time coming, I guess, for Trump in this ballroom. But he's also taken out the Rose Garden, I think, and I saw construction on that. They're taking that out. It's used now as some type of patio, I think, or the construction is ongoing. Sarah, I appreciate the $10 donation. Thank you. Vivek beach photo. Yeah, that's just sounds just a weird thing. They weaponize Christianity. Why is every single Zoomer couple a land whale girlfriend and a beanpole boyfriend? I don't really see that. Is that something that's true? Judo Christian. Yeah, that is some type of weird Protestant thing they got going with that. They bring the gay stuff into it. You're in the Defiant L coin. Well, he promotes a different one every week. That page has been taken over now. It's just a promotion. That's just a promotion. You get offers to promote stuff. Cryptocurrencies, new coins that launch. Or both are humongous. It's a sign of the times. It's a sign of the times. We need to be healthier. But it's easier said than done. I mean, there's got to be something that culturally has to change to get people there. Crypto is down. Dude, I know crypto's getting crushed again. I'm just sick of it. At this point, you just have to just hope. Just hope you hit on a coin. Just pray you hit on a coin. That's about all you can do. Because I'm in like 6 or 7 different coins. All I need is one. Really, that's all I need. Because I'm not selling out of any of them. I'm not going to sell out of any of them because, I've sold out of coins before and it's been a big regret. So you just have to just keep holding it, and hopefully it'll go up eventually. And your boomer stonks. And there's a meme for stonks. Your stonks are down as well. Do you have a portfolio that you check? I have a portfolio. It's actually not even portfolio. It's a wallet. But I guess it's kind of like a portfolio. Portfolio checker. You got that for stocks. I'm going to have to look into something like that. I'm just going to invest into the QQQ maybe. I'm going to see what's the best bang for your buck in terms of investment. Aggressive, but not too aggressive. I feel like that's what everyone wants, right? You want something that's going to give you at least an 8 or 9% return. An average of an 8 to 9% return per year. Maybe that is too timid, but if you have enough money, it's good. Tariff deadline tomorrow. Japan EU deal was huge. Yeah, I know. They praised Trump. A lot of the liberal media praised Trump for those deals. You see what's happening with Canada. I think Canada's going to have to come to the table and negotiate a deal. Isn't Monero the third most popular crypto after Bitcoin and Ethereum? No, XRP is. Yeah, Monero is a really old privacy token. When did it come out? Like 2016? 2015? It's a very old cryptocurrency. It would be like probably top 10. I think Litecoin is more popular than it. You could even argue some of the newer layer ones that came out in like 2020 or 2019, like Cardano, Chainlink, those are potentially more popular. HBAR. Monero is older though. You could argue because Monero is used a lot. You could argue it's like top 5, top 6 maybe in popularity. I mean, not counting Tether and USDC. QQQ is good. Yeah, QQQ is like the most normie thing that's actually an okay return. Because isn't QQQ like 2 to 3% on annually better than the S&P indexes? Mumblewick, $1.49. I appreciate it. How do you feel about LSU this season? Crazy to have you have them as your, yeah, I think that's crazy to have them as a number 1 team. Well, they got a returning QB. Brian Kelly has to do something this year. He really does. I think LSU is going to make the playoff. I do. But to me, they're like a 7 or an 8 seed. They're like a 7 or an 8 seed, probably hosting a playoff game against a 10 if I had to guess, LSU. Or maybe they're in an 8v9 game. They're like last year's Tennessee. They're going to be like an 8 or a 9 seed if I had to guess. They always have a lot of talent. I guess it depends how the schedule sets up for them. The SEC is tough. Mumblewick, what is this? Is a weird system you got going. You gave me a cat, the cat emoji. I appreciate it. Every single human being is racist to a point. Well, yeah, that's just tribalism. It just depends, you know. There's different layers to it, different levels of it. Remember the whole Wall Street Bets subreddit pumping up the GameStop stock to short the squeeze on large hedge funds? Yeah, I do remember that. That's one of those unique moments where imagine if people could mobilize like that for crypto. But I mean, that'd be a singular coin, because that GameStop, the stock moved like a crypto, like a meme coin. I mean, it basically operates as a meme coin now, the GameStop stock. The one man wiggle. No, I don't know that, man. What do you rate Tulsi so far? Well, I mean, I think Tulsi is kind of no, I would rate Tulsi as grading out well, honestly. But it's like they're forcing her to do all this stuff as a distraction for the Epstein stuff. But listen, she's doing her job. I mean, she came out with the intelligence report about Iran. It kind of got lost in translation there, but TikTok ban officially starts getting removal from the App Store tomorrow. No, it's not going to be removed. Somebody is buying it. I think Oracle is buying it. So if it's in talks to be, I thought they already extended the period by, Trump's got that executive order where it's extended. Chances of Notre Dame winning the national. Yeah, I think Notre Dame has a decent shot. Did you see the blonde Secret Service agent with the ponytail last week right before Trump and Powell came out of the Fed building? No. Why would happen? What was she just hot? Mumblewick, I appreciate the $1.49. I mean, you're giving me all these small donations. It's like a salt shaker. I don't even know what that is. Yes. There was a good interview Trump was doing with Caroline Levitt, and Caroline Levitt looked very cute in it. But I never saw whatever you're talking about. The Fed tour? You talking about the tour with Powell? Those were funny clips. Dude, Defiant L, the entire page is just shilling for stuff. It's like shilling for clothes. It's shilling for some AI like language thing or whatever. Sean, what's up? The whale. The whale enters. Ban the words Defiant L. Ban word. I don't know if I can ban word. Yeah, I could ban words in chat. The thing is you can moderate your channel and ban words from comments, ban words from appearing. So yeah, you could definitely do that. I'm sure. I wonder if it also extends to a live stream. Snap is going to be the next GameStop shorts. I don't know if there'll be another one. To me, it's hard to mobilize that many people and do that. I mean, maybe because it's already been done, people have more faith in it if it happens. Jack, thank you for that. Do you know removing income tax under 100K is only $250 billion per year? This can easily be done since under 100K earners barely make that total. 200. Yeah, I know. Listen, I understand how the rich pay for so much, and I agree with you, and that's why they were discussing it originally. You're talking about the income tax for people under 100K. The problem with it is even 250 billion. I mean, dude, we're talking about the tariffs, and it's like this huge emphasis on government revenue, but you got to put it in perspective. We were already making around 150, 160 billion per year in tariffs. Now it's up to probably about 350, 360. So you're basically going to eliminate the tariff revenue we've made by taking away income tax from people making under 100K. Now, maybe you could do that, but the problem is we're still treading water with the debt. If you want to cut into the debt, we've got to stop cutting the taxes and instead use the revenue we make to service the debt. But I mean, I understand what you're saying, and yes, it is the rich pay a ton in terms of taxes based off of the fact that it's a capitalist society. The wealthy people are going to make a ton of money, so they have to pay a lot more. Born too late to see ancient Rome, born too early to see flying cars and immortality, but born to see the rise of me. That's very nice. It's a very nice comment. You have some nice comments, Sam. I appreciate it. $100K? Yeah, no income tax on people under 100K. To cut the debt, we'd have to make a massive shift in cultural behavior where we all work more and use less. I think to do it, we have to, well, you're a liberal, so you're not going to like this. We have to look at entitlements. I mean, that's what it is. Now, I mean, even if you restructured entitlements, I'm not sure you'd be able to get it down enough, maybe. But if you just get it to a surplus, the thing is, half of the deficit is servicing the debt. That's the problem. Who makes 100K without help? What do you mean? Now, the argument was we could eliminate income taxes on people under 100K. How's your summer? I'm not a big fan of summer. I mean, summer is what you make of it, honestly. That sounds like such like a female thing to say. That's nah. No, I mean it's just really hot and stuff, and the problem is just the humidity, and I feel like we didn't really have this humidity 10 years ago. Honestly, we've just got really aggressive humidity now. It comes and goes, but 25% is debt servicing. People say that. I don't understand how that's possible. Think about it. If we're paying think about our deficit is $2 trillion and we're paying like 970 billion to service it. That's basically 50%. Unless the numbers are inaccurate. That's how I interpreted it. Like the servicing the debt at a 4.5% interest rate's about it's comes out to about $1 trillion if our debt is 37 or 38 trillion. Social Security will be a fraction of what it currently is in 20 years. Well, there have to be investments that have to be made into to be able to sustain it. You have to invest the money. You know, they just take the money, they put it into a trust fund. The money loses value over time. There's not enough workers. I mean, we know the story, so I don't think Social Security in its current form, it can't exist. It's not possible. We don't have enough workers to sustain it. And so the question is, well, you tax people at 6% rates for their Social Security. What do you do with that? Do you just give them the money? Does it just get abolished? I mean, I don't know. There's going to have to be some type of change to it. You're trying to find the actual amount on the debt breakdown, but it's all incredibly terrible. Just ask AI. Dude, like this account. President Trump just seemingly randomly decided to raise tariffs on Canada from 25% to 35%. I hope this is like a 17-year-old tweeting this. he just did it randomly. No, behind the scenes, obviously they're negotiating, and the Trump people don't like what they're hearing. This is the reason Trump does. It's not randomly. Okay, the reason you would raise tariffs from 25 to 35% is because you're trying to extract something out of Canada that they don't want to give up in a trade deal, in a negotiation. So to get them to give it up, you raise the tariffs on them, which pressures them. President Trump just randomly decided to do this. How dare he? Or you know what? It might be because Canada is recognizing Palestine as a state. No, I don't think that's it. The United States will impose a 15% tariffs on goods imported from Israel. Trump's come out as anti-Israel now. Yeah, Trump's been hard against Israel. Social Security should be abolished. It's a slush fund. You can have way more saving. Yeah, you could have way more if you controlled your money. But it already should have been abolished. There should have been forethought, probably like 20 or 30 years ago, to realize the situation we were going to be in. So they needed to make some change. If you have your money, you do the basic thing to where you could put it in anything you want. But people say, well, they'll waste their money, then they're going to have no money when they retire. Well, it's like, dude, you got to save your money. I mean, did you see Trump refusing to deal with Canada if they don't bend the knee to Israel? Well, Trump's tariffing Israel. What happened to Elon? Yeah, great weather in Ohio after 2 months of hell. Yeah, when was the last time the high was 77 degrees, 73 degrees or whatever? But it was really cloudy today. The next few days are going to be really nice. The next few days will be good. And then when Canada comes to the negotiating table and Trump lowers the tariffs, they will just say taco. There's no, yeah, I mean, they don't understand. They don't understand how negotiations work and how threats work and how forced action works. You're forcing them to come to the table by doing this stuff. So they just hate on Trump no matter what. The base is moving far away from Israel. I know, even Trump admitted that came out in a story today I saw. What are you doing for 300K? I might do a video. I might do a video updating the channel. I mean, I just did one like 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago. American Party is floundering. I'm not even sure if he's doing the American Party. It doesn't really seem like he has. The problem is also getting on the ballots on these states and finding candidates, and I think it's an issue. I think it's a waste of money for him for sure. Obviously, it'd be bad for Republicans if he was able to get on the ballots, but I don't know how bad. I don't know if it would really be that crazy. It'd be him trying to manipulate the House, I would say. Are you a LeBron fan? No. What are your thoughts on Trump going after Josh Hawley for not investigating Pelosi over her stock trading record? Yeah, I saw that. But wasn't Hawley the one that brought up the whole idea of banning stock trading for Congress people? If you want it, dude, you got to stop shilling that. Like, we get it. Toasty TV, I don't even know. You want to shill it. It's like, I don't know why you need to shill that hair. You're shilling a YouTube channel on, it's like it's a bot or something. Abolish Social Security, Medicare, what would happen to old folks in nursing? Well, they would obviously still be fully covered. It would be for people that the abolished part would be for people that have not even, they're not in it yet, basically. There would be a final group of people that would still get their full benefits, and the rest, it would just be, I mean, you would have to kind of go through a transitional period probably for people in their 50s and stuff to be able to, because but it's like the new people that are just entering in and starting to build up, it's like we really should switch that already from, you know, taking 6% to potentially giving it to them to invest. Thoughts on Michigan blowing out Western Michigan and Germany? Yeah, that's bad, man. I think it's really bad for college football that that's happening. I mean, even if it was Michigan against a good team, but I think for whatever reason, it's worse to me. Like, why would you go to Germany to face Western Michigan? This is the issue with the evolution of this stuff and unchecked, you know, capitalism. And I like capitalism obviously better than socialism, but it's like, you know, when the money incentive is the only thing, it does come at the expense of the sport and the health of the sport. And just we see it with NIL as well. How do we fix our government from being occupied by Israel? Well, the main issue is all of these people in Congress, many of them are very old. They're already entrenched with it. So you're fighting, it's not even like you're swimming upstream. It's like you're swimming in concrete if you're talking about doing something like that right now. I think there would have to be an entirely new Congress because they're so entrenched with the AIPAC money and the Israel draw, and some of it is biblical, but a lot of it is just the money. I mean, it's an amazing thing they have going on there because it's bipartisan. You know, it's both parties support it. And so I think you would just have to get new people. Because I really can't see any other. I mean, what are you going to change all these boomers' minds? I don't see that. Whatever happened to ending birthright citizenship, I don't think it can happen because it was always a long shot, and Trump put in some type of executive order. It was an emergency order or something that temporarily paused it. But the thing is, it has to be reinterpreted by the Supreme Court. That's the whole thing with birthright citizenship. When it comes to the argument of birthright citizenship, you know, the Constitution, it was always for interpretation. Now, it's a slippery slope because you can interpret other amendments and potentially liberals could try and change other ones. But the thought process is, well, the 14th Amendment was based off the 13th Amendment, which was ensuring slaves had rights. So it was ensuring slaves had the right to vote regardless. That's what the 14th Amendment was about. It was not about manipulating the 14th Amendment with anchor babies. And, well, they never thought, I mean, think about it. In the 1860s, they never thought there would be this crazy of an immigration problem. So there was no safeguard. It's not like it says anywhere. It's not about immigration. The 14th Amendment was not about ensuring immigrants' children the right to be American citizens. That's not what it was about at all. There was barely any immigration, you know, in terms of like that we had to deal with from places we didn't want in the you know, mid 1800s. So if you understand it, it was at a different time, and it was based off of something different. The 14th Amendment, because it was really a branch off of the 13th Amendment outlawing slavery. But again, it has to be reinterpreted, I think, by the Supreme Court. I'm not sure if it gets that might be the best way they can change it. Is just reinterpreting it, but I'm not even sure the possibility of that. I think it's very lowest from what I heard. I don't support any basketball team other than Duquesne. Duquesne, what an there's so many different college basketball teams, Division I teams. What is there, like 363 different ones? College football teams, there's like 100 and well, it's FBS. There's like 133, 134. The shilling of X pages and channels. Yeah, I mean, they just do that. They want me to go to certain pages, I guess, to react to stuff. Did you see Josh Hawley clip from Jesse Waters? No, I haven't seen that. YouTube never notified me. Yeah, that's always an issue with YouTube when it comes to streams. It's unfortunate. And it really doesn't have anything to do with, the videos you upload, because I only uploaded one video today, and they still deals with that problem. Sometimes they say, well, if you upload 2 or 3 videos, they're not going to notify you for a live stream, but no, it's just really random when they notify you. Yeah, but we wouldn't be looking at it being repealed. I think it would be reinterpreted. But I don't even know if he would change. It's reinterpreted in a way to where we wouldn't allow the something like an anchor baby to happen, to where illegals come into the country, they have a kid, that kid is not automatically legal because it's granted under the 14th Amendment. That part of it would be changed. There's a Trump executive order. Wait, so there's going to be more tariffs in China you're talking about? Do you know when that's happening? In August? Wow, this doesn't surprise me that they would try and do this. Linking Melania Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. They've retracted the story, Daily Beast. Yep. So Epstein did say this, but it was not, there was no witnesses, and people say this was very likely false and conjured up by Epstein after Trump won the election. He said that he introduced Melania to Donald Trump. Naturalization Act. Yeah, but that was I hear what you're saying. That was in 1790. But obviously, if liberals are going to argue founding fathers, then they're going to have a really tough time because of something like the Naturalization Act compared to what they argue now. I mean, how could liberals have any moral, standing on founding fathers and their beliefs in America when you look at the Naturalization Act? Daily Beast is bad, but Newsweek is the absolute worst. It's always mentioned in our politics. Newsweek. I'm not even... Yeah, I think I know Newsweek. I don't really look at it at all, though. Yeah, they're not moving on the nominees, I guess. I've heard that that's a complaint. What do you think will happen next regarding the Russia-Ukraine war? EU, NATO will increase military spending and purchasing equipment from U.S. Greenland needs to be acquired too. Yeah, well, you know what? I did talk about it. I think what's going to happen next is it's obvious the sanctions are coming. So the sanctions are going to be enacted. Those sanctions, I think, are going to be a little bit different. They have to be different. I saw an article from what they were in 2022 when Biden put them on, and they're heavy sanctions. My concern is they're going to affect the price of crude oil. Would we really want to sacrifice our domestic economy when we've had such an amazing... I mean, energy has treated us so well, for these 7 months. We don't want to tell, liberals that, but we've gotten very nice with energy. The energy prices are down. Would we really want to upend that in the name of Europe defense against Russia? I mean... Because obviously what they're trying to do is they're trying to pressure Russia into some type of peace agreement. So you have to sanction them in ways and ban their imports. But the problem is they were able to subvert that by using China and India. Well, now we've got this 25% tariff on India, which I think is in place to be a negotiating leverage play by the United States to say we can lower our tariff on you guys if you refuse to buy Russian energy. And so then you maybe are able to, because then Russia will still go to China, but then maybe you're able to pigeonhole Russia and force them into some type of deal. You know, if they put on, you would think, unless something has really changed with the Russian economy, if they put on similar tariffs or similar sanctions, then I don't see Russia caving into that. They sat through those sanctions in 2022 and 2023 and nothing, you know, they kept going. So I think they're trying to get Russia pressured to the point to where they change their opinion of their current situation. They have to come to some type of agreement. And there will be annexed land. You know, these liberals want to live in fantasy land. I don't even know what they're talking about. They say, well, there's not going to be, they're going to take the land back. Who's taking it back? Who is taking that land in the Donbass back? I don't see it happening. MAGA nation rise up. Your girlfriend wants you. You know, that's. What's the Holly clip from yesterday? I don't know what it is. It's something about the stock exchange trading. We just what we need. Laura Loomer to the rescue. So Holly is the one blocking this. Is there an interview with him?
I had a good chat with the president earlier this evening, and he reiterated to me he wants to see a ban on stock trading by people like Nancy Pelosi and members of Congress, which is what we passed today. I think it is absolutely vital.
It's an oversimplified question, but should we just let Putin have Ukraine? I would want to know the total military strength of Russia before I answered something like that. I think the West, and obviously we're in a different spot than Europe, but I don't even think we have to let them have it. I think if we fully backed out and tried to mend our relationship with Russia, you know, those European countries would still be heavily funding. You know, those European countries recently raised their defense budgets to 5% of their GDP. They seem to be really, really war hawkish right now. So I think even if we fully backed out and said we want a better relationship with Russia, there might still be a situation that happens there. I also think that Russia wants Ukraine as a puppet state. Now, I don't know if that's... I don't really know what Russia's goal was to take over all of Ukraine, was to take over half of Ukraine. I think minimum they want them as a puppet state. Ukraine is basically a buffer for the Western European countries. So I think if they got Ukraine back... I mean, from just a normal level, I understand it, because it's like, well... And then people say it's like this big, horrible thing. They want to reform the Soviet Union. And I agree. I mean, I don't want that to happen. But I understand they had a bunch of territory up until 1991. They lost it. And so they want it back, right? You know, if we would have lost Alaska in 1991, I think there'd be a lot of people that would want Alaska back. So, I mean, obviously they collapsed. But whether or not we allow them to get it, it's like... I mean, can they really get that big? Can they have a significant military buildup to the point to where they can actually invade most of Europe? I don't think they can, honestly. I don't see it. The other thing is it becomes an appeasement problem, and they take the Baltic states as well. But, I mean, it's appeasement in a different way. They like comparing it to Nazi Germany. Well, Nazi Germany is like Germany is in Central Europe, and they annexed multiple countries, at least an area of Czechoslovakia, all of Austria. So I don't think it's really comparable to Germany. But they'll do that for the fear-mongering.
We put a stop to this. Pelosi shouldn't just be investigated. She should be prosecuted. And we need to make what she is doing and other members of Congress is doing illegal. I mean, you shouldn't be able to go up to Congress and get rich by trading on information that only you have and not members of the public. Right now, lots of members of Congress are getting by with it. We need to make the whole thing illegal.
So when you spoke to the president, did he explain why he called you second tier?
Well, I think that the president, a number of people who are opposed to banning stock trading had said to the president that he would be covered by the bill. He'd have to sell Mar-a-Lago and sell assets. Not the case at all. The president and the vice president, all their assets are totally exempted. And here's the point. This
Yeah, and that's the thing. That Trump's assets are exempted. So it wouldn't even matter. Savior Dono's stock market may be on sale for the next few weeks. Great buys to be had potentially. Not indexes, individual stocks are where it's at. Well, individual stocks are definitely a higher return potential. The EU and Russia are both hell-bent on acquiring Ukraine to be a puppet state against the other. You think Ukraine will just be split in half between West Ukraine? So Germany after World War II? I mean, they would all want to go to West Ukraine. They'd all want to go to West Ukraine, just like West Germany. I don't think that would happen. I mean, that would be like maybe. I mean, maybe if Russia acquires significantly more land, but I don't know if Russia can really facilitate taking half of Ukraine right now. Honestly, it doesn't really feel like. I don't really think they can. I mean, maybe they can. I just don't really know their full military might. But I guess if they fully invest into the war, maybe they can take half of it. Don't understand the Holly situation. Not sure why Trump is mad. I think Holly has a new update where he said he doesn't want to prosecute them now, so Trump got mad at that. Trump was worried about his assets. Oh, that's why he's mad? Well, they said they're exempt, and I saw that somewhere else his assets would be exempt from it. When are we going to have the restoration of Prussia? Prussia. That's what Tucker Carlson was talking about in that. Did you see that clip? He said, "Well, Prussia just went extinct. What do you know?" When will you get the courage to admit that you were wrong about inflation? Stop the trolling, man. Just stop. I was wrong about a 2.7% inflation rate, really? Why would I even admit anything right now? I'm admitting a micro picture, 2.7% inflation. I'll tell you what, Biden would have loved the 2.7% inflation rate in 2022. What does Greenland becoming a part of the U.S. look like logistics-wise? Do we send our troops in? Well, if you want to hostilely take it over. I don't even think I would characterize it as a hostile takeover. I don't know. The thing is they have, planes there now. They've threatened the United States. They've said, you better not invade. But they have no actual... Greenland is not allowed to have a military. And it's not even like, well, they could build something up. They can't really build up a military anyways, but they're not allowed to have one under Danish rule. So I think it would be more so of securing it in terms of us sending soldiers to Greenland. I don't think there would be any type of fights or anything like that. But you wouldn't want that anyways. You would want it to be done diplomatically. I mean, these are supposed to be our allies, and so, we would like to compensate Denmark and give them, it's basically just a token to try and keep some type of peace between Europe. So we'll give you $10 billion or $20 billion for Greenland, and because we just want it, we want it to be cordial. And then there's really no problem with us taking it over, but they don't want to do that. Of course, they want to keep Greenland because it's but the thing is, it's like your army, your economy is not even big enough to support Greenland fully, and you can't utilize it. So what's the point? But it's one of those things to where if Trump wants it, he's going to have to really dig in. And I don't know if he really has the appetite to do that right now. Klaus. You're not banned, Klaus. Trump could not say Tua's last name today. Tonga Vailoa, I think. It's a hard last name, Hawaiian. Greenland will be acquired one way or another, either diplomatically or through military exercise. No, I agree with you. I think it should be acquired. I'm just saying it's like push is gonna have to come to shove here or something, because Trump's gonna have to force some type of action. GDP 3%, net export is higher than expected. Great for manufacturing. Yeah, but I think there was expected to be a higher rate of exports because of how many imports there were, because they were trying to front run the tariffs during Q1. You know, I was reading about manufacturing and where our economy has gone. Denmark wasn't diplomatic in their response to America's offer. Might makes right. Yeah, but that's not a false equivalency. They didn't want us to buy their territory. I mean, that's not like comparable to us invading a country. You know, we offered them gold in 1946, and they said no. Or are you talking about the 2019 offer when they got angry? But I wouldn't compare that. I wouldn't compare that. Because it's like, you can't compare an offer being rejected to us taking over a country. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, you know, the manufacturing jobs, maybe they'll go away because of AI, so it doesn't even matter. They're way better than retail. Way better than retail. If we got more manufacturing jobs into the country, it'd be really good for our economy. Really good for middle-class people. Very, very good. They're very good for... They're very good for, you know, blue-collar type work. Who's more at fault, the politicians who are insider trading or the Americans who keep voting? Who keep voting for the same type of people that would engage in insider trading? Well, it's like the same thing. I mean, the people that you're going to vote for are probably going to engage in it either way. So it's like, now you can't really blame Americans for that, for this happening. You know, it's going to happen either way. Even if people say they won't do it, it's like, well, this is just who we're allowed to vote for. Mumblewick, thank you for the $20 donation. Are you a Christian? Yeah, I am. I'm a Protestant. I grew up as in a Methodist church, Protestant. I mean, we'd go to church most Sundays, but you know, the way Christianity's evolved, especially with amongst the right wing, it's a lot of Catholicism. We let them stay in office for too long. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, especially Congress, there's arguments against that. You know, it's interesting with, like, the president. You could argue, you know, giving them more time might be beneficial. I mean, obviously, well, if it's a Republican, I want them to have 20 years. If it's a Democrat, I want it to be 2 years. So, you know, there's no real point in arguing it, but the more you do something, the better you get in terms of, I mean, look at Trump's first term versus second term. People can say, well, you know, his first term was better or worse, but it's obvious he has more wherewithal, and the cabinet he picked and the relationships. I mean, it's just all so much better his second term. I already did I played that Elizabeth Warren clip, man. You think the person that does Benny Johnson's thumbnails is a good editor? Yeah, I wonder how those get made. I mean, I think those have to be in some form. A lot of AI is used, but yeah, no, those are genuinely those are interesting thumbnails to say the least. I mean, it's like the typical YouTube clickbait stuff, but you know, it works. We're cooked here in Canada, absolutely cooked. The media will never tell how badly, how bad it and quickly it went down. Yeah, well, also the other thing with Canada, you guys have a much smaller population, so you get an influx of immigrants. It's going to be overwhelming. And you know, there's no such with these Western countries, especially the liberal ones. Canada's more liberal. There's no such thing as trying to keep a certain demographic with liberals. I mean, to me, it's just insane when you look at these major cities and you look at these people, and you know, it's modern liberalism. Like, look at some of the, you know, someone like Mondani. You know, Mondani was born in Uruguay or Uganda, something like that, and he's talking about like restricting the Second Amendment. This is somebody born in Africa. I mean, inherently, is there not something really wrong with that? And liberals see just no issue. Like, there is something seriously fucked up about somebody from Africa trying to change our Constitution. And it's like, this is modern liberalism. This is what it is. Look at the potential mayor of Minneapolis. Like, how do they think this is going to work? What happens with Canada? 35% is embarrassing, considering it's a G7 nation. Seems like GDP is contracting in both quarters. Yeah, I don't think the 35% is going to stay. I think they're gonna work out a deal. They have to work out a deal. Can they really absorb a 35% tariff? No way. We're their number one trading partners. You know, they do. Remember, they did the whole exhibition to where they were going to hit us with counter retaliatory tariffs, and it lasted like a week. So are they going to do that again? Really? They have to. They're going to have to come to the table with us. Well, didn't they put up signs in Canada on that you couldn't shit in certain areas? I think that was in Canada. Can someone explain why Trump is okay with UK recognizing Palestinian state, but tariffs Canada for doing the same? Yeah, I don't think it's really because of that. We're negotiating with Canada, and he really wasn't okay with any of those Western countries doing it. He's criticized them. He's very pro-Israel in terms of that. But it's more so we have a negotiation happening with Canada. We've already agreed with the UK on a new trade agreement, with the EU on a new trade agreement. So the countries that are recognizing Palestine, their trade agreements outside of Canada have pretty much been agreed upon. Mondani wants to turn NYC into a third world country. Yeah, people have to, of course people will have to leave. I mean, especially if now we'll see what, you know, the powers, people might over embellish and fearmonger what he can do as a mayor. But yeah, it's gonna be the same stuff that just simply does not work. The practices don't work. So something like the state run, I mean, it's just like the DMV. You know, when you have something that's state run, that's run by the government, there's no incentive for it to create any type of process that makes the system easier. And so, you know, because it can't go out of business. So you're going to see just a terrible situation if they have those grocery stores that are state run, and the competition is the exotic food is going to be eliminated from the city. And it's going to create these deserts, and then they'll blame the small businesses for creating them, and it's your fault. And, well, we're competing against something that you can't compete against. Let's annex Baja California so that Arizona can have new beachfront property. I have heard that before. I don't think that's I don't think that's very likely, but I haven't looked into it. You know, what is it, the Mexican territory right now? Seems like Elon is back at Tesla, stock down 10% 2 weeks. No American party, huh? Yeah, I mean, I think he thinks Tesla's going to go up no matter what. You know, whether or not the shareholders get angry at him, the shareholders should understand that the stock is untraditional, right? It's got a lot more volatility to it. It's almost like a layer one crypto to a degree in terms of the volatility it has. Because it'll go up 20, 30%, it'll go down 20 or 30%. You know, for a company with that market cap, it's extremely rare. Is Arizona landlocked? You thought the southern part had oceanfront? No, I think that's where the Mexican territory is. Was just in New York City. Every store had items locked down. New York City would be an interesting place to visit just to see what's going on. I guess it depends which areas you go into, but yeah. But it's the typical story of a very liberal city. It's like they need the opposite. They need, you know, they need heavy police presence, prosecution to be able to clean things up, but it's the opposite. You know, they vote for the opposite, so it just gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, I guess they voted for Adams, but it's like, really, how much can you do in one term? And, you know, Adams is a Democrat, or was. I guess he's an independent now. He's got, like, legal issues. He's trying to get bailed out by Trump. EA's meme coin would have retired us. Which one are you talking about? Oh, the one that never was released? Well, I'm happy he never released it, but what would it have gone to? What do you think? Really, whatever a meme coin goes to, it depends on the clout that you have. Probably like 300 million, maybe. It also depends the time of the market, if there's more money in it. Maybe 500 million. Cartel influence in U.S. politics is very dangerous. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's hard to gauge fully the influence they have, but, you know, there's also the thought of maybe Trump doing something against the cartels. Maybe launching some operation against them in Mexico. But it's very complicated because you got to target the right people. You got to make sure it doesn't spiral. It's going to create more animosity against the United States. Although you would figure it wouldn't, because we would be helping them. But, you know, a lot of their government says they don't want the help because they're so entrenched with the cartels. Top Chill is what's up, man. Yeah, someone said August was their least favorite month at the beginning of the stream. I don't think August is my least. I mean, it was when I was in school. Yeah, August was the worst month when you're in school, for sure. Because that meant you're going back. The weather is not great in August. You know, it's like the dog days. The dog days of summer. It's just hot. Still in August, but August is, it might be ranked like the 8th or 9th best month. I don't know. Seems like Trump is very happy with Mexico's president. I know, isn't it strange? The Jewish woman. But how about an extension for Mexico? Yeah, it treats Mexico very nicely compared to Canada, that's for sure. Do a monthly tier list. Well, I think when you look at months, bring the fall weather, screw August. Yeah, we're not going to really. Fall weather is, to me, we don't even get really fall weather in September. We'll get some colder days a little bit, but September is still pretty hot nowadays. Did you see that it came out that a lot of these Spanish-speaking Ukrainian fighters are actually cartel members trying to learn how to better fly drones and stuff, teaching the enemy? Huh. Where are they coming from? They're coming from Mexico? I think the best month is October. I think March is a really good month. We're just talking about weather-wise and stuff like that. I mean, October is a really good month. I think November is a really good month. I think December is a really good month. I think March is a good month. April's a pretty good month. May is not bad. June, July, and August. I mean, I would rank June probably best, then July, then August. January would be in front of February. That's basically it. I mean, it's something like that. They are Mexicans that volunteer. Wow, they're Mexicans that volunteer just to get higher tech and cartel members. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. Hopefully it's sniffed out. GDP up 3% with 4.5% interest rate. Imagine if Powell cuts rates in Q4 next year. 5% GDP next year. Well, yeah, but I mean, it's you look at FedWatch, the cuts are coming. They have to come. We're going to have 2 cuts or 0.5 basis point cut by the December meeting. And there's like an 80% chance of it. They have to cut. I mean, Powell but it's this constant thing to where if you look at the FedWatch, they said there was going to be a cut in July and yesterday. And then they changed it. They said, well, probably not. Probably not. We got more data. So I don't know. Hopefully there's 2 cuts before Q1. I think Trump should, because then it's 4 flat. It's 4% flat. Thoughts, Powell? He might get fired. He can't be fired. Powell cannot be fired. He has to be removed with clause. Potentially by Congress. Maybe because of an erroneous renovation that went way over budget. But I don't think they can really remove him because of that renovation. Saw one economist say that they think Powell is holding off to maintain the independence of the Fed. Basically a standoff because of what Trump has said. I don't know, man. To me, it's been constant Powell saying the same thing about inflation. I mean, I understand, the Fed, it's like we look forward 10 years into the future. We can't just look at the micro picture like the administration wants us to look at. But at a certain point, I mean, if you've got inflation tamed, if you have they'll actually use the GDP growth as a reason to not cut. They'll use lower unemployment numbers as a reason to not cut. If you look at Argentina's inflation on the Truflation site, the latter, yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, people don't really trust that Truflation site. I don't really know why. The thing is, it's, that's actually a cryptocurrency. You understand that Truflation? It's a coin. I think is it on Base or Ethereum? I think it's on Base. It's a coin. So I was like, wow, I didn't realize that. But I think it's a really good, it has utility. That's a coin that actually has utility. Because everyone looks at that thing. And I was looking at its market cap. I think its market cap was only like $10 million or something. I never bought it, but... Hope you get 1 million subscribers. I appreciate that. That would be great. Inflation is not tamed. It is tamed. You want it back? Maybe we should get it back during the Biden era. Get it back to 9%, 7% inflation. You like that? Can you clarify how big of a win the EU deal was? Entertaining watching Europeans freak out. They've been making fun of America while we've subsidized them for years. Well, what I'll say about a deal like that, you know, when you've got a, well, in the European Union's case, a cohort of countries pledging they'll invest a certain amount of money, you know, will that come to fruition, whether it's 750 billion, whatever it is? The point is that we've got unlimited access to their market, and we have the tariffs the way we want them. There's no tariffs on us. There's the 15% tariffs on them. Liberals will say, well, it's a 15% tax on American citizens. That's not the way tariffs work. The smart ones know this, but that's what they say. There's a lot of variables at play, but we got everything we wanted with that deal. Now, will the full amount of investment be honored? That's becomes a bit, we'll see. But you know, full access to their markets, and you know, they had the VATs. I think they eliminated the VATs. They had the VATs on, and you know, they got their own version of tariffs with the value added. So hopefully that's what Trump, those are gone. What's the deal with Biden's speech right now? I don't think Biden's giving a speech. Yeah, you have to run a mile in elementary school. In 6th grade, you have to run a mile. I ran a mile in 7 minutes. There were some tryhards that did like 5 minutes, 50 seconds. I couldn't do that. You accept the deals as real? Well, they are real. Is the deal? Is it not happening to where we're tariffing them at 15%? That's a real deal that happened. That was agreed upon. That's why Trump was in Scotland. And it's a lot more complicated than that's a liberal tagline. Let me ask you this: do you know that a lot of the third world countries that are really reliant on our consumer base, they lower their labor costs? And that's where it gets eaten. Their labor costs go down. They have to lower it because they have to still sell to the United States. So that's actually, sometimes the tariff gets eaten by the country of origin that produces it. And so they won't tell you that on, Rachel Maddow might not tell you that. She's probably not going to say anything about that. Why does your stream take up so much RAM? I don't know, man. Maybe it has something to do with wireless connection, because that's what I have. I don't have it connected to an Ethernet cable. Taiwan at 20%, which is surprising. I thought maybe 15, but I guess chips. I thought their chips were exempted. I thought their semiconductors were exempted from that tariff. Maybe not now. I don't know. It's the YouTube chat that takes up so much RAM. Are you really? Is that what it is? Yeah, because I do have the YouTube chat up. That's it. That's interesting. But I really never had any of these issues. Well, I guess people just didn't mention it. When I would get the big time views or the big time live viewers during the election time, you know, I get 2,000 or 3,000 people, and nobody said anything about it. Maybe I just didn't really see it because it was moving faster. Thoughts on top 3 conspiracies being JFK assassination, 9/11, and Epstein. Now, I don't think Epstein would be a top 3 conspiracy. JFK assassination and 9/11 I could see as being two top conspiracies. Epstein I don't think is considered a top conspiracy at this point. Who did 9/11? Muhammad Atta. Actual whites are 60% conservative. They make up, with some of the minorities, Black, Asians, and some Latinos get to 50-50. I don't know. What are you talking about with that? Biden is speaking. Well, Biden's speaking. I don't think I'm missing much of Biden speaking, honestly. The only people who considered Epstein not killing himself a conspiracy are the mainstream media. Yeah, I don't even think that is. But I think the Epstein conspiracy is more to do with Israel than anything. Basically, the Israel connection with the Les Wexner. Did you watch Alex Jones and Fuentes? I just saw clips of it, honestly. I just saw clips of it. To me, it really wasn't much of a debate from what I saw. They were just trying to talk about Trump and say that, I mean, Alex has got to do his, preamble of, I'm just trying to find the truth and everything, and... But I like Alex. Was the North Tower leaning? Right before it collapsed, I believe the North Tower was tilting a little bit. Maybe slightly off-centered a little bit. But the North Tower was hit dead on. So it was going to collapse much more proportionately. In elections, the country is usually split 50-50. You're saying that whites are 60% conservative, white liberals are only a minority of whites. They never reach 50-50 with minorities. Well, I mean, I guess I understand the concept of it. I just think, obviously when it comes to the United States and where we're at, I mean, white people in general are going to be more conservative. That seems pretty obvious, And... one of the things you realize, they try and discount the views. They basically anything that's considered anti-immigrant or pro-white, they'll just compare it to Nazism, and that's kind of their Uno code. But a lot of it is it doesn't even. A lot of the arguments have to be changed, and they have to evolve them with all the immigration, because it's so bad and so obvious. The way in which the demographics of the country are going, it's just interesting to see them try and evolve their talking points. A lot of them don't even want to talk about it. Tim Pool finally took his beanie off. Yeah, well, that was because the kid made him do it, and that was he got money for it, or I guess. Israel needs to replace Netanyahu with a different prime minister to clean up their image. Well, that's their plan. They're going to do that. They're going to stop that. But they want to annex land as well, so that's not going to help their image. But they're going to try and replace Netanyahu, yeah. How are tariffs helping individual Americans? Your costs are, well, you're saying costs for gas, they're lower. I don't know, maybe not in your area, but overall gas prices are a lot lower than they were. Even just 7 or 8 months ago, they're significantly lower. This is across the board. And the food and stuff, I mean, that's all, that all fluctuates greatly. I mean, but even food, you take a look at the egg prices, they've come down significantly. They've come down basically fully from where they were when they freaked out on Trump and blamed him. I mean, I'll go to it. I don't know. There's a few people that said to go to it. Was it just Biden talking?
And I was proud to ask Kamala Harris to run with me, be the first black woman to serve as Vice President of the United States. It was important. As president, I made the cause of civil rights and equality the foundation of everything I did. For example, I promised to have an administration that looked like America. And I was proud to ask Kamala Harris to run with
Joe Biden. There he is. Ben, hold on with us for just a second here. Let's
He looks like
listen to
Casper the
applause.
Ghost.
And he brought his granddaughters to celebrate with him. Please be seated.
Okay, so you're going to be watching Biden's remarks in full here. We still have Ben Jacobs on the horn here. Biden accompanied, I believe, by one of his grandchildren, Finnegan Biden, and I think that was his daughter, Joe Biden. There he is.
You going to be just as hyped for midterms like 2028, 2024 was epic? Yeah, I mean, the midterms they'll be big for sure. I mean, all this politics stuff just seemingly just keeps getting bigger every year. So certainly the midterms, big house races, big Senate races as well. But you know, the people will focus on the House. We got to see how the redistricting works. But you know, the midterms are a bit tamed compared to the elections, the generals. So, but again, it's like it's evolving now with politics to where it's all become so much bigger. When 299K? I don't know. I'd have to look. I think it's at might be at 500. So 298, 500. So maybe in the coming days. PTC down to 115K. Yeah, my memes are struggling. But I mean, it's a small pullback. When are we going to get the Doge checks? Rest in peace to the Doge checks. That's not going to happen. Joe Biden's legacy will be mass immigration, high inflation, botched Afghanistan withdrawal, and DEI. Yeah, I mean, maybe when you look into the details, I think Joe Biden's main legacy is going to be he became president way too late, and he couldn't properly govern because he was too old. And all of his policies that he has, this is all further left Democrat stuff that they're pushing on, or him fodder that they're pushing onto him. We miss Dark MAGA. Dark MAGA. What a joke that was. Dark MAGA coin. Biden will get arrested. No, he won't. They're not going to arrest him. Afghanistan withdrawal. Well, that was the turning point of his presidency. That's when he became unpopular amongst just the overall American public. The problem with Doge is it would have taken 2 years to do a proper audit. They dicked around for like 2 months. Well, I think the problem with Doge is they were not allowed to touch entitlements or the defense. This is how crazy it is. You know, they were talking about possibly cutting the defense spending, and we thought there was going to be an audit of the Pentagon. They said that. And it went from that to, oh, they're not touching the Pentagon. There's no audit. And we're actually raising the defense spending another $150 billion. That all changed in the span of like 3 months. Biden pardoned everyone except himself. Yeah, because you kind of, it's like an admit guilt thing, you know. But I'm sure whatever happens with Trump, Trump's going to be pardoning himself, or Vance will be pardoning Trump during, you know, one of the two, depending on what happens with the 2028 election. Does anyone remember the guy that kept asking if Trump would mention this coin on Polymarket? It was MOG coin, M-O-G. It's a big Ethereum meme. How many wins does Ohio State get? I think they probably go 10-2. Trump didn't pardon himself in 2021, and then he faced he faced the consequences with the legal stuff. You really think he would, in his old age, you think he would flirt with that? I don't know. I mean, obviously, if Vance wins, he can just end up pardoning him, or there would be no problems for Trump because Vance would take over. They wouldn't come after him. But if Vance loses, then it's... Ben Shapiro denies the existence of the Epstein client list and claims there's no proof of Epstein's contacts were involving trafficking children. Well, he's an Israel shill. Obviously, he's going to say that with Israel involved, potentially. That's what all the Israelis are saying. They're coming out against the entire thing. So it's understandable that he would say that. Who wins the World Series? Somebody else asked me that. I'd say the Mariners win the World Series this year. Do you like Charlie Kirk on South Park? I think it's good that he embraced it, and that's kind of what you have to do. Self-deprecating humor, and, you know, it's whatever. Who's your pick for college basketball? I have no clue. College basketball is a crapshoot, man. There's no way I would have been able to pick Florida anyways last year. Vance loses, then Republican Party will collapse and Elon Musk Party will replace it. No. That's not going to happen. I'm not even sure if Elon Musk's party is going to get off the ground, honestly, man. I'm not even sure it's going to get off the ground. Yeah, all of the coins are down significantly. Vance Rubio 2028 ticket would be an easy win against the Dems. It just depends who the Dems are running. I mean, it's too early to really say. I mean, they might run an outsider. You don't really know. I know a lot of them flocked to the idea of an outsider after, you know, Kamala lost. So, yeah, if it's Newsom, I mean, Newsom's someone that seems to be very beatable at this point. Think your hair looks better side parted than pulled back? Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. and I was telling people this, I think my sides got cut too short, honestly. You could say, well, it's a cleaner look, but I think it's just based off of individuals. I think if my sides were a bit longer, it'd look better. But the hair is not, my hair is too short to be pulled back. I got a haircut. The hair is just up. I have to, the thing is I have to part it because it gets too long. So there's nowhere to put it. Feel that Republicans in the near future are going to go more right-wing when Trump's gone. They have to. Well, you know, younger people are definitely more right-wing, that's for sure. It just depends at what point. Because the party, I think, still, it still is more, it's more of an old guard, but yeah, it's going to change, it's going to shift. And if the young people still have the same views, then the party's going to have to be more right-wing. It's just going to happen organically. But, I mean, more right-wing in the sense of, you know, probably moving to pausing immigration indefinitely, I would say. Are you a MAGA voter in 2028 or a Democrat? I'm certainly not going to vote Democrat in 2028, brother. Certainly not going to vote Democrat. We know what the parties are. They're not going to change to the point where I'd vote Democrat. Why would we want to pause immigration indefinitely? Well, I could give you a maybe a more harsh answer, but if we've got 20 or 30 million illegals in the country right now, why would we continue with immigration? This is what I would say. Minimum, we need to get all the illegals out. That's a minimum. Or you could go back to the 1924 Immigration Act. How many wins does Boston College football get this year? I have no clue about Boston College. They're normally a bad team. I'd say about 4 wins for Boston College, but I'm not sure about Boston College. The ACC is not good. The ACC is very down. You're talking about Obama being born in Hawaii? It is a very suspect place to be born, like, you know, detached from the 48. And no, I mean, they you know, there was like a news SERP that said he was born in Kenya, and that's what people took and ran with. That's what Trump took. North Carolina's going to win it all. In football, I don't think so. Well, with Bill Belichick? The dew point in DC was 84. Well, then it must have been really... Because didn't it reach 84? Or no, it didn't. Because it was colder today. It was colder in the Northeast today. Remember Obama mocking Trump in 2012? Yeah, at the dinner. I do remember that. Do you think Ryan Day is going to retire if he loses to Michigan again? If he does lose to Michigan again, it's a problem. It is a big, big problem if he loses to Michigan again. Because then he'd be, what, 1-5? I don't know if he... I mean, because he won the title, so it's like... It's like you can't really retire. You just won the title. Trump is a stepping stone. Americans and the world are going to be more anti-globalist, anti-Zionist, either on the left or the right. Yeah, I think you mean Western countries are going to be more those things. And I would agree with you. Definitely. I mean, you can see with the Israel stuff, I mean, for different reasons in most cases, but a lot of liberals hate Israel as well. A lot of liberals. So it's interesting to see that level of hate from both sides. It's like a bipartisan agreement. And it's small right now, but it's interesting. Pangu comeback is crazy. That's the one coin that Pudgy Penguin coin. Yeah, that coin's already ridiculously high in market cap. Why is Greg Abbott suing the town in Texas that is against sending money to Israel? Yeah, that's a brutal thing. I mean, that's the Congress for you. Do a stream with Joy Reid. The MSNBC anchor. The influencer. Smart Arch Manning overrated. I mean, it's hard to live up to the Manning hype for sure. I don't know. You know, you can call him overrated because of the family, but we'll have to see how good he is. He seems pretty athletic, actually. Have you heard the proposed Muslim city in Texas? I thought they shut that down, or they're not allowed to do it. The thing with that city is, it's like, you know, that seems like something that shouldn't be allowed in the United States, I would say. Because that's like a full-blown city. Yeah, that's not good. Why wouldn't you guys want Muslims in their own city? Well, they have their own cities in the Middle East. They don't have their own cities in the United States, though. There's a big difference. You know, but obviously, if you're a liberal, you believe in the multiculturalism, globalism, and you know, you'd probably want that. Stream with Whoopi Goldberg. As soon as she starts arguing, shout, "I'm black, I'm black, I'm black." Dude, Well, what would I? Because it really wouldn't make sense. You know, I was doing it as like a. But it's like, dude, that was a good clip for me. Stock futures were down 0.5%. Now they've recovered. Seems like the market is getting over the tariffs. These are baby tariffs. It's not going to be a huge market disruption from these, whatever these tariffs that were announced. The tariffs, you know, the Canadian tariffs. It's not gonna be a crazy. I mean, the markets are at all-time highs right now. This is after the Liberation Day and everything like that. So we've recovered pretty greatly. Virginia governor's race, I don't think, you know, Youngkin can't run again there. I don't think it's going to go well for the conservatives. Yeah, I saw the town in Arkansas. I mean, I don't really understand the whole thing. I don't know if you guys have heard about the whites only settlement in Arkansas, a rural area in Arkansas. But I was just thinking to myself, like, aren't there, or there have to be organic rural towns that are pretty much 100% white anyways. So I'm not sure what this crazy stuff is about. This is all private land. This is private land in a rural area that people are angry about. Not dying for Israel. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. America is a white country, yes or no? Well, it's predominantly, I don't even know if I would say predominantly. At this point, I was built as a white country. Now it's like, I mean, people were arguing with me. They were saying it was different. I thought it was 61% white now. Those were the demographics. I mean, I guess you could argue the Hispanic whites and some other Spanish whites. You argue things. I thought it was 61% pretty much known, but someone was telling me no, it's like 68% or 66% or something. So I don't know, but it is still predominantly white. Not in the big cities though. That's a different story. Mm-hmm. Why should it matter whether or not America is a white country? Well, I mean, I'll put it to you this way. You know, the country was 90% white until 1960. I really like the success we enjoyed until 1960. If we want to keep up that success, I think it's important to have the demographics in a way in which we can properly keep up the success. And that's about as simply as I could put it. But I also think, obviously, if you're it's like would Iran can Caucasians just go into Iran and just say, you know what, we want to make it like 60% Caucasian now? Like, is that something that could ever happen? Like, it's such a stark. You're gonna go to China and tell the Chinese, no, you know. You said 70% white when you include Hispanic whites, like Marco Rubio. Yeah, you said something like that. I still don't really understand what you mean. I mean, I guess if you include maybe people that are like that, it maybe gets up to 70. I don't know. A lot of it depends on where you live. I mean, it could be very minority driven or it could be 95% white. It just depends on which city you live in a lot of the times. But the big cities are very diverse. Non-Hispanic white 58%. Black or African American 20%. Asian or Pacific Islander 6. Wait a minute. Hispanic Latino 20%. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. 58. Need a video on Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. That's what it's called. The Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton. It's a smaller stadium. I think it seats around 30,000. Citizens, bro, not total population. Yeah, but dude, this is what I'm gonna say to you to end out this argument that we've been having. If you're looking for a representation of a population, you don't go to this. I think they're talking about total population. I want the total population. That's the representation I would use. But you're saying it's citizens. But yeah, that's what I think those numbers are. They're citizens. Or maybe they're counting the illegals, but how do you even estimate the amount of illegals in the country? Because if there are 20 or 30 million illegals, it's not an insignificant amount. Because if there's 350 million people and there's 20 or 30 million illegals, it's not nothing. (2010) U.S. Census breakdown, 72%. In 2010, so 15 years. And then I wonder if they include illegals. It's hard to get an actual number with illegals. I would like to know the amount of illegals. Can we estimate the amount of illegals in the country? Is that something Trump can do? it's not possible to bring back 1960. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that too. That doesn't seem like that's because it's just too different at this point. How would you do that outside of some type of, you would have to really, because even if you bring people in from Europe, I don't even think that would be. Yeah, I don't think. I think it's already gone from that type. But like, look at all the major cities. It would be great if there was a major city just somewhere in the Great Plains. I think it's just all the big cities they just turn into these liberal, like I was saying, a real conservative big city. Because all these cities just turn into the liberal cesspools, and it's the same, 4 or 5 ingredients mixed together, and it's not a very good result. And there are, the cities there's great parts of them, and just by and large, though, they're declining. California should not be gerrymandered to help Dems. There are a lot of Republican areas, and yeah, there's a lot of Republican. I mean, dude, but you know how it is with the gerrymandering stuff. They're very angry Republicans are doing it, so they're trying to do it back. But they've already gerrymandered California to a degree, and they said they could add a few more seats, so we'll see if they do it. I mean, we're going to add probably 10 or 11 seats. They want to add 3 or 4 seats as Cope. I mean, I'm sure it'll help them, but it's like both sides are going to gerrymander. This redistricting is going to help us more. Approximately 28.6 million undocumented immigrants. Yeah, honestly, I would not be surprised. That's a pretty accurate number. I've never read that number. What I've seen the liberal numbers say it's about 20 million, and I've seen conservative people say anywhere from 20 to 50. So that's why I normally say 25 to 30. So 28.6 wouldn't be surprising to me. I don't think there's 50 million like some conservatives say. I think they really overinflate it. But I mean, I'm not saying it's good that there's 28, but I don't think it's 50. Miami's a pretty based, non-liberal, diverse city. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big Cuban influence, a little bit more conservative there with Miami. I wonder how many Cubans. That seems to be a different component to Miami. If the economy goes the path it seems to be going, the midterms won't be 70-30 for Dems. It will be at least 50-50. What do you mean 70-30? I think if the economy still does well, I think Trump will be able to hold on to the House. Most widely accepted numbers. Yeah, that's not the correct data, and a lot of that is from that, not including the Biden administration. If you're gonna reference 11 to 13, you're gonna reference 13.7 million illegals. That doesn't even make sense because there were 10 million. Liberal numbers say there's 10 million under Biden illegals. The conservative people say there's 20 million, but conservatives say we admit there's 17 to 22 million illegals. That's the liberal number, and I said bullshit. There's more than that, but I also don't think there's 50 million. Why is Fox News saying the administration is only deporting the worst of the worst? The administration has to deport every illegal. Well, I don't watch Fox News very much, so I don't know. I don't know if they're saying they're deporting only the worst of the worst or what it is. But I mean, I think it's pretty clear with the mandate that Trump's been given the authority to deport all the illegals. Any construction site has at least 60% illegals. Well, that is an issue. That's even a bigger problem because then we deport them and then we need people. But I mean, you are right. I mean, you go to construction sites and they will, you have an ICE raid at a construction site and it's going to be a lot of them. Why is there no big cities in the Great Plains? Well, it's a combination of things. Low population's biggest reason. But you'd love to see a big conservative city. It's just be a great thing to see be built. Booker is talking nonsense. Yeah, Booker's a clown. Booker's trying to get, 2028. It's all bullshit with him. He's trying to get funding for 2028. He's going to run again. Remember, he had the big run in 2020. These Democrats, these are like, they have two chances in their career to run for president. So, they're trying to set it up. You see Buttigieg doing these speaking events. You see Booker constantly trying to speak out. Newsom. I saw the liberal argument, which is based on, well, we produce all of the money because you look at liberal states versus conservative states. I've actually seen that. I don't think that's true. I think liberal states are in more debt than conservative states. I believe that. I've seen some statistics with AI, and I actually believe that now, that liberal states are in more debt yearly than conservative states. And they say, well, we have California and all this. And they try and brag about it like, they produce more things. I mean, they have major cities. But the actual production of things and making money and the innovation, it's mainly conservative people. Some estimates report higher numbers, like the Federation for American Immigration Reform at 18.6 million. Mainstream demographers and organizers generally say it's about 15 million. Yeah, I mean, we could sit here and debate the exact number of it. I mean, whether it's like 17 or 27, but it's I mean, if there's less, that's a good thing. If there's actually less, I would like to get a number from the administration if they could somehow do that and give us an actual count on what they think. It's hard to do. Fox News is a grifting Rhino network. Well, it's an old Rhino network. I mean, it's above the age of 65, 70. That's who watches Fox News at this point. So it is what it is. We seem to like Buttigieg, but you don't like him. Yeah, who do you like? Who do you like on your side? If I was a liberal, I would probably push for dude, I don't even know. You'd have to push for an outsider or something. I wouldn't really want Newsom if I was a liberal. But I mean, liberals will rally around Newsom. Buttigieg would just be a bad choice. Buttigieg would not get people out to vote. He would be decent with like college liberals and white, maybe college whites, but those are already demographics they do well in. I don't know. Does DeSantis run again? Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. I think if DeSantis thinks he has a chance, maybe. I just don't see, Vance is running, how DeSantis is going to win. I don't think DeSantis is... He's kind of walled off because of MAGA. Isn't it an extreme act of cruelty to deport a family of law-abiding illegals? Well, the problem is, and listen, it's very sad situations, but they're not law-abiding. They're here illegal. They're here illegally, so they're not law-abiding. Now you can say, all right, let's not be obtuse. Let's say, all right, we know they're here illegally. Other than that, they're completely law-abiding. The problem is they take away opportunities from American citizens. We have to protect American citizens first and foremost. And look, that might be, well, what if they're doing jobs American citizens wouldn't do? I mean, it's a problem when the populace people are here illegal. I mean, there's a reason we have a country. There's a reason you become a citizen. There's reasons for all of this. There's a reason we have a border wall that we just built. Not to give libs advice, but if they want to make headway, need to drop the DEI crap, focus on affordable healthcare. They need to focus on taxing corporate. Well, they already kind of do, but no, I agree with you on that, and I don't think they will. They seem to be. Have you seen the recent stuff where the liberal campuses are trying to find workarounds to DEI? They're creating these new programs now where it's not called DEI, it's called something else, but it's a workaround. But they should try and attack corporate taxes and things of that nature. Bernie Sanders had some policies that in a vacuum made sense. When it comes to the economic success of it, I'm not really sure, but because the thing is with these liberals is they hate capitalism, but the way that their policies could work are through basically capitalism, because rich people make so much money. You can tax them or do these exotic things to extract revenue because rich people are so fucking rich because of capitalism. But listen, capitalism is not perfect. I think there's a lot of problems with it, but obviously it's a better economic model than socialism. And we even have certain factors within our economics that do have socialist tendencies locally. But overall, capitalism is better, even though there are problems with it when you go for money. I mean, because the preservation of things, it's a problem. Even the creation, you see certain things, the way they're built now, they're built really cheap. They're optimized for profit margins, and we'd like to change that a little bit. We want things to be built more beautifully in the country, I think. The architecture needs to be more beautiful. There's a middle ground between deporting a family before they get their possessions and letting them exist outside of the supervision of the government. Well, to me, dude, I think this is a deeper problem just with immigration in general. Obviously, with illegal immigrants, it's a problem there. But to me, I think there's a deeper thing here with immigration. Reddit hates whites. Well, Reddit's very liberal. They're very liberal. There was a very successful they banned a lot of the conservative subreddits. That's the real reason. The Donald got banned back before Trump even won his first. That was like the most successful subreddit they had politically. The Donald. You remember that? It got banned in 2016. I think before Trump even won his first time. They ban any successful conservative subreddit. Would you rather marry a hot 20-year-old that turns into a slob at 50 or mid-20-year-old that age well, it's a 20-year-old versus a 25-year-old. The 25-year-old age is significantly better. Yeah, I take the 25-year-old. Well, it depends. There could be more baggage. I guess it depends on the 25-year-old's behavior. Need to pause all immigration. Yeah, remember when Trump said we have to pause immigration to find out what's going on? I don't know what happened to that. He said that back in 2016. I don't think he really. It's like he became softer on it. It's an interesting thing. But I mean, immigration, obviously. Immigration is a capitalist act. Immigration is. Especially something like an H-1B. It's very capitalist. We need a dono from the guy with the DG pic with photoshopped Clyde. I don't think he's in the stream tonight unless maybe I missed him. You were getting banned from the Donald for criticizing conservatives simping for Israel. Well, that was it's very popular to simp for Israel back then. Holy. It's 2016. Our conservative hasn't been banned yet. Yeah, you're right. Our conservative is still up. I should say that's like the only main. That might be the only one. Our conservative. 88% rhinos, 10%. Yeah, the last time I was on Our Conservative, they wanted DeSantis, but that was when DeSantis was more popular back in 22. Our Conservative is still up, but don't they have like the "Don't Tread on Me" thing? Like they were more libertarian, honestly. Well, you also have the conservative subreddit. It's like, or no, the conspiracy, Our Conspiracies or whatever. That tends to get a lot of the right-wing people there. I don't know the exact. I mean, I'm sure you could click on one fucking thing when it comes to conspiracy theories and find out if the board is conservative or liberal, because conspiracies are like heavily political. I agree you guys are overly censored. You're not. Yeah, I mean, the censorship has opened up a bit. The censorship has opened up on X. I think it's causing other platforms to open up their censorship as well and not be, TikTok, I think, is the most censored thing. That's the only one that's really censored. Well, also Instagram. TikTok and Instagram, I feel like, are the two ones that are censored the most. What do you think of TN visas the U.S. has with Canada? I'm not familiar with those visas, honestly. Go on R North Dakota. Yeah, it's liberal, I'm sure. Go on R South Dakota, R Wyoming. Favorite movie this month? I don't know. I'd have to look at the movies. I'd have to look at the movies. Vincent, thank you for the $10 donation. I appreciate it. Seen the demographic crisis in New Zealand? No, I haven't seen the demographics of New Zealand. New Zealand was always interesting because it was so far ahead. It's further ahead than Australia. I think Auckland, which is their major city there, it might be about 8 o'clock in the morning there in Auckland, New Zealand. They're very far ahead. I think Fiji is the furthest place ahead of anyone. Can you give her me Clyde? You'll turn him capitalist? Dude, you're the one that has, you should go to my Instagram. You can go to my Instagram, take a look. You'll be very happy. You'll be very happy you go to my Instagram. Did you see Trump is allowing TikTok as long as they let the ADL censor it to death? Yeah, I mean, with the ADL, whether it's the ADL or... I don't know, man. Is it really being censored to death? It seems like there's all the Palestinian people on TikTok. I don't go on it, though. But, there's like all those young liberal people that hate Israel for different reasons than conservatives. But, maybe they will start censoring. But they just censor the hell out of anything conservative, I feel like, on TikTok. Problem with capitalism is that there isn't a maximum wage. We'll define wage. I don't even know what that means. Maximum wage. Billionaires don't make this money through wages. Oh yeah, you found my girlfriend. You saw that, yeah. That's why they were gonna ban it. Trump is appointing an Israeli to censor it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. Maybe a Palantir executive. Now, Trump is saving TikTok, but, you know, I think Trump said, well, there's too much negativity about Israel on there, so I'll save it, but we have to censor the Israel stuff out, probably. Amount of money earned in a year? Yeah, what if you earned it through investing? What if you earned it through creating a company? I mean, that's... So you do believe in, well, I don't know if you'll dress it up. You can say you believe in communism, right? No, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to... I just wonder what's your opinion on, what's your opinion on China? You know, the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party. Why do you think such staunch communists would have to switch to a mixed economy and an open economy in 1978? Why do you think that was? If, you know, communism is so good. Disgusting. He wants to censor anything. It's a free country. Well, it's donors. It's other people, you know, that want it censored. But I mean, TikTok itself is... I'm not a fan of TikTok. I never really liked it. Yeah, but you really can't say China's 500,000 years old. They go through different variations in different periods. So to say they're 5,000 years old, that's a disingenuous scope of the history of China. Because you could split China in like 7 or 8 different periods based off of their government and their system. Yeah, the CCP is only 100 years old. Well, and they admitted defeat on communism. That's the thing, because they're like, there's not going to be any innovation. There's no way you're going to compete with the West if you have communist government. I mean, the Soviet Union found this out, and then they blame the Afghan-Soviet war as to the reason why they collapsed. No, you collapsed because you have a communist economy, centralized planning, sir. That you're not. They were already bogged down, and then the communists try and act like, oh, they had the advanced technology. And yeah, look at their technology against Germany in World War II. You'll see who's more advanced. They said, well, because they got to the moon first, and what did they orbit the moon first? They had all these things that they did, and then the United States beat them to the actual moon. You got banned on Discord for organizing for J6. On what channel? Organizing for J6, you got banned on Discord for that? They just banned everyone that was on a certain channel? You think Trump should create a TN visa program with the EU and other Western nations, which can still yield 40K-ish high-skilled visas? Yeah, I mean, the EU nations, that something like that could work. Maybe a new visa program. But I mean, the thing with those European nations, you got to be careful. You got to be careful because you see the immigration they're getting. You know, but Ireland's actually a great example. We've never colonized it. Well, whether people want me to say, you know, I'm saying I'm part of Ireland or not. You know, Ireland's never colonized anyone, yet we must take in all the immigrants. They always say, well, if you colonized it, you should allow immigrants in. Well, Ireland's never colonized. It's a small island. But they still must take them in. Thoughts on the next generation? You think they're effed with this globalist brain rot? Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, man. I think the younger generation's a lot more radical at both ends. In some ways, they can agree. The horseshoe says they'll agree on a lot of things, but you know, you'll get young fascists, young communists. Young people tend to be a lot more extreme. The question is, will they level out their beliefs, or will they only be reinforced as they grow up? It'll be interesting. Yeah, there's a lot more access to the internet for you, a lot more access to having a voice for young people because of the internet. Gilbert Arenas video, I don't know what happened with him. From what you know, a lot of the immigrant kids born in the EU and UK still retain their Pakistani citizenship because Europe is not birthright citizenship, it's by blood. It is remarkable that they have that, you know, compared to what we have, and then liberals act like it's this intrinsic right that you should have, you know, if you were born in a country. A lot of young people are extreme and idealistic and not that bright. Well, on average, I mean, you have less, you know, you've lived less life. You're probably not gonna be as smart as people that have lived longer. I mean, I don't know if that's true. Are the IQs of young people lower? I don't really think that's a trend. I mean, young people have access to way more information, but that also, in a way, can inhibit you from actual growth in terms of memorization and learning things. How are American-Canadian relations? Seems like we all forgive and forget. Well, I mean, Trump just put a bit heavy tariff on them. The relationship with Canada is kind of irrelevant. They can't really do anything to us. I mean, we're so much more powerful than them. The relationship is always going to be good enough because they know that they can't make us too angry. California is a globalist crap hole, and Texas is heading down a dangerous path too. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Texas, you could definitely look at Texas and think, I mean, it was becoming possibly a swing state. And, well, Texas is right along the border, so we'll see what happens with Texas. I've heard people caution about Texas and what's going to happen there, but California, yeah, there are great areas of California. California's got amazing weather, but unfortunately, just this modern liberalism is really hurt their major cities. You know, and they've got the homeless problem, and they won't clean it up. And that is modern liberalism. They don't want to blame the homeless. They don't want to force the homeless to move. They don't want to, you know, there's no action from the government. There has to be something. You have to step in. But at a certain point, it becomes so overwhelming. There's not much the government can do because there's the sheer amount of homeless people. Young people mostly process information completely wrong. That's why so many start out being libs. Well, I think the young women start off being libs because of it's a combination of things, but college, it's kind of this thought of being a good person. It fits into the mold of that. Trump is removing them off the streets based. Yeah, but where are they going to go? I mean, it depends. Because it's like, well, that's going to be taxpayer money, whatever happens to them. You know, you're going to put them up somewhere. I mean, you want to rehabilitate, but it's a problem. it's not a good thing for a society to deal with. And then when it gets to the point to where it's uncontrollable, it's young women became libs because Trump is a pushy. Yeah, well then women, they complain when they go outside and they're afraid. And well, you didn't. Isn't that what they voted for? To a degree. I mean, look, I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean that's. Then they always complain about men and just. Well, I mean, the conservative men do. We want to have a safe society. We do. That's what we're pushing for. And then they say, well, you're pushing for that. That's racist. Okay. Thoughts on JD Vance's family? Well, Vance grew up in a disheveled household in Ohio. Republican stance on abortion shouldn't change just because women don't like it. Yeah, I've always thought the abortion thing was so tough because listen, the abortion stuff is obviously a losing issue in a vacuum. It's a losing issue. Now maybe that'll change. I mean, certainly it can. It's not like it's 90-10, but it's very nuanced. We say, and I think a lot of liberals now say, well, after 12 weeks or after 16 weeks, I see a lot of them debate now, and practically none of them, or I guess this was 2 years ago when it was a big issue. When people would debate, they'd be like, well, the ones that would actually debate, they'd say, after 12 weeks, that's it. You can't get an abortion, or after 4, whatever. So there is more nuance to it, but I'm of the opinion I don't think it should happen really at all unless there's like crazy circumstances involved, some type of assault, or because I just think you have to protect the creation of human life. You have to protect the creation of another human being. That's how we continue to evolve as creatures and don't go extinct. You can't. And so many of they always talk about the fringe cases. It's like 91% of the abortions happen from two people that just had sex and they weren't mature enough to have a condom, or something happened, it broke, or they didn't want to, or it feels better, and so if that's like the vast majority of them, well, I mean, there's consequences for actions. I mean, it's an action that potentially could, having a kid, it's a very time consuming, it's a lot of money that has to be invested, and that's just the reality of how humans operate. Problem with abortion is that pregnancy is a dangerous and potentially fatal medical condition, and the government can't force someone to remain in that condition. No baby argument necessary. Well, obviously, it's a necessary that it would transcend that, especially with modern medicine. You could probably change that, whatever you just said, in terms of the verbiage of that. Because now, I mean, I wonder what the rate of success on deliveries are. It's probably like, 99 point something. So, I mean, we could have a more nuanced discussion, without including the idea of, because that's an entirely different argument you're trying for. You're saying the health of the mother allows them to get an abortion at any point. Yeah, and the whole clump-of-cells thing never made sense. It's just the formation of a human. That's how it works. I mean, every single person had to be a clump of cells. It's impossible for them not to be. You don't spawn into the womb as like a 12-week-old fetus. So it's part of the process of it. So I guess they just think it doesn't matter. the risk of the mother. Yeah, but also can't that also be explained as if you don't want to have that risk, you shouldn't be having intercourse that could create a child? Because like there's things that you do, there's consequences to it, right? That would be a consequence. If a single cell was found in another planet, that would be considered life. Yeah, I mean, you put perspective on it. Terry McLaurin has requested I saw that, requested a trade from the Redskins, right? Yeah, they should go back to that name. Libs always use the fringe cases. Absolutely, you use the fringe cases, you've lost the argument. You're using the 1% case, you've lost the argument. The car vlogs. I gotta get a new car. I'll do a vlog or something. I need to get a new car. But I can't get one right now with this shit. I mean, these coins are just getting... These coins are getting battered. This has got another leg up in it. People ask why the 80s, 90s, 2000s were so safe. Mass arrests, war on drugs is the only stuff. Yeah, and then how do you manage the outcry on social media? That's the difference from the from those years. There's going to be outcry. I mean, there's outcry even after the mandate that Trump got. They're like, well, you're sending people back, and these people, they're just here illegally. They're trying to work, and there's outcry over that. That's with a mandate, and that's illegal immigrants. Has California been gerrymandered too much? They all get gerrymandered. They're all going to be gerrymandered. So, it's been gerrymandered. They're going to try and gerrymander it more against Republicans. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Republicans are going to gerrymander the hell out of several of these states. Ohio is going to be gerrymandered. Florida's probably going to be gerrymandered more. What's wrong with dating apps? Just look at the makeup of dating apps. It's like 70-30, 70% men, 30% women. You're already off to a bad start. Then take into account that women will just go for the same guys. It's a lost cause. Trump says he may speak with Mark Carney later Thursday night. Trump says he won't make a deal with Canada before deadline. Yeah, they're gonna make a deal. I mean, if he's talking to him, they're probably gonna make a deal. Canada can't afford to play hardball. You saw comments of libs justifying them gerrymandering, but Republicans do it, and it's bad. No, I agree. I think it's all the way around. And then they say, well, we have independent commissions. Well, the independent commissions in some cases are not fair at all. The independent commission in Pennsylvania was terrible. They drew a very pro-liberal redistrict, line. And so it's like, well, when you even have the independent boards draw them, they're not fair. So it's very bad. I mean, you look at the maps, they're terribly clownish. So it's like, well... You're 5'11"? Yeah, you could just lie and say you're like 6'1", 6. You say you're 6 foot, they'll catch on. Just say you're 6'1". Yeah, tats and nose rings are two things for sure with college women. Infuriating. Thoughts on the spelling bee? You remember the spelling? I remember the spelling bee on ESPN. Is it still on ESPN? The Scripps spelling bee? I think Indian kids were always at the top. $5.11 on dating apps and ugly women won't even talk to you on dating apps. Yeah, I mean you're not gonna have much luck. It depends. I mean, dude, dating apps are just we can cope, but it's like the dating app. Do you really want to meet your wife on a dating app? I just think that's queer. I don't like the idea of that. But listen, obviously it's like 70% of relationships or 60% of relationships start on there. Tats are disgusting. They're masculine. Tats are masculine. Thoughts on Pump? Dude, you want to get 100x from a coin that's at like fucking, what is the coin at, like $1 billion market cap? We're gonna get 100x from Pump Fund. It's not even an actual coin. They literally launched a meme coin of their own website. I thought, okay, maybe you would think there would be some utility to it. I saw it was listed as a meme coin. Cats are considered a symbol. Yeah, cats would be more feminine than dogs for sure. Yeah, right. You're right. You're exaggerating the risk. That's the thing. They have to exaggerate it. They know it's inherently wrong. They know abortion's inherently wrong, but it's like political points. Somehow, in some way, this is a political win for Democrats. Because they make it about women's rights. Well, this is about human creation. This is like, it's a transcendent thing. This is not, you're not even arguing, we're not even arguing the right thing. Unable to go up to girls nowadays. All right, man. See how that works out for you. You know, it's not going to work out well either. Are they going to redo the census? I don't think so, man. They need to redo it. Really, they should redo it right now because it's mid, you know, 2025. They do it every 10 years. So they should redo it right now. They've admitted, they said, yes, we undercounted Republicans. We undercounted the conservative states. We gave liberals too many districts, but they're not going to redo it. You know, that was 2020. They did it with the pandemic. It was a mess. Chargers won and you bet on them? Yeah, India has a massive problem. You know, they're starting to lie. You see the one TikTok video of the Indian influencer. They were like, well, it's just white people going to the worst hotels. And, you know, there's a game to where if you go to any part of India and you do the street view on Google Maps and you'll see trash. But with India, it's a problem. And they have an issue to where they actually pollute their own skies. Not just because of the vehicles, but because of crop burning. All around New Delhi, they have crop burning with the seasons. They want to kill all the insects and stuff. They burn all their crops. and it pollutes the air, and they have horrible smog. They have the population density is too high. The people they're too poor. I mean, the entire thing is just terrible. You go to, you know, I will say this. It's entertaining, if not anything else, if you watch the Indian street food videos where guys go up and they get the food from the streets, and they all get salmonella. But it's interesting to see how they make it and stuff, and just how many people are within the street, and it's like 95 degrees every day, and that's what they do. That's their jobs. It is interesting. Do you care about MLB trade deadline, or do you just don't care? Yeah, I paid attention to it. I don't care as much as I used to, though. Have you seen Bangladesh? Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I'll say about Bangladesh. People say, you know, if you want an exotic answer, people ask me, they say, what's one country you'd never visit? And all the normies say India, India, India. You say Bangladesh. Bangladesh, you know, on average is actually more unhygienic. Favorite holiday? Well, I'd say Halloween, probably, man. Have you seen the literal mountains of landfill and garbage in India? Yeah, no, I absolutely. Well, they'll argue about damaging the environment because they'll talk, because a lot of the environment just comes on to raw CO2 emissions. And then we get an argument with China. The difference is this. They'll say, well, per capita, China emits less than the United States. The difference is if you look at our CO2 emissions, we've leveled them off. Ours are actually gone down. China's are skyrocketing. And there's no, like, if this is huge crisis, they think they would go after China heavily, and there'd be this huge campaign. But the weird thing with China is they've really embraced renewable, but they have just, you know, they have terrible emissions because the population is so large. But they have massive solar panel farms in China. They do them in kind of a weird way. They'll put them on these like hilly areas. Have you guys seen those solar panels? They put them on like this hill terrain. They've also got they've got these solar panels to where all the solar panels will be in a circle surrounding these giant mirrors, and the mirrors will reflect the sun more heavily onto the solar panels. I don't know if we have those or not. Have you seen the videos trying to eat Indian street food? Yeah, but when you do that, that's more of like if you want just the raw, authentic, you'll find someone that doesn't really talk much, because the influencers will go there, they'll try and do it. I mean, I guess I give you credit if you go there to try and eat the food. I mean, it seems like pretty much everyone, you know, you've got to at least have a 70% chance. If you actually go into it and decide to eat like 3 or 4 meals there, you got to have a pretty high chance of having some digestive issues for sure. Really great stream tonight. Keep it up. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Yeah, I don't know why I did a long stream tonight, but I did about 3.5 hour stream tonight. You won't go into an uncivilized... Yeah, I don't know, man. India's a tough one to go. I would go into some different countries, but, you know, you go into these countries, you got to be careful. You know, you go to do all the tourist shit, it'll be fine, but... Which one of Trump's family would you want to run after Trump? Take an age out of account. Yeah, I'm not really interested in another Trump. I mean, you know, you can't really say Barron because Barron hasn't talked really in public. So how do you say him? Yeah, I don't really. The two others, the sons. I mean, I think Eric is more likable, but you could argue maybe not. I mean, Don Jr. is definitely more involved with politics. Laura, maybe. I mean, Ivanka. I don't know. Maybe Ivanka. You kept predicting. Yeah, you kept predicting that. I remember I saw that like an hour ago. Did your girlfriend dump you? Yeah, that's why I have to stream longer. Pack of 5 Indian ramen for 35 cents at Walmart. Yeah, Walmart always has the cheapest prices. I haven't been to Walmart in a while. I went once, maybe like a few months ago, but other than that. All right, man. I'll see you. Glad to see some civil right-wing content. All right, man. Yep. Good talk. Have you seen the memes on how Indians only care about grades? Yeah, I had some Indians in my high school class that were very, 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 attentive, and they ended up going to, like, one of them went to MIT, I think. One of them went to Stanford. They finished, like, first and second. Saw a video on Kai Trump's channel of her golfing with Don Jr., and he was actually surprisingly nice. Well, obviously, he's going to be nice in that setting. Barron Trump is the Aryan save. I mean, you got to wait to listen to him talk, and we'll see how good Barron is. I don't know. I know a lot of people like Barron, and because look at his build. I mean, the guy's like 6'9". He looks like someone from ancient Rome for sure. Have you seen Vivek's tweets? And of course, those are like the most. That's why people are so angry at him. Well, it's a culture thing. He wanted to, he didn't explain it in a good way with what he said. Haidt has always been affiliated with leadership. Yeah. Well, it didn't really. I mean, Napoleon and. I mean, I guess the men were shorter back then, so you could be shorter. But yeah, you are right. Look at the U.S. presidents and their height. I mean, they're all practically over 6 feet. U.S. presidents, but you have to be over 6 feet. It's an imposing stature. It's a respectable, stature. Yeah, I think the Kai Trump stuff. You bring that up, it's immediately it's gonna be a smorgasbord. That's why DeSantis can't win. Yeah, DeSantis really isn't that short. I think he's like 5'10", but you wear those shoes and it becomes a bigger problem because you're insecure about it. So, that was his big issue there. Who has it worse, tall females or short males? Yeah, no, tall females is tough as well, for sure. I think short males have it worse because tall females can still say, well, if I'm, 5'11", I can still find like a 6'3" guy, and sometimes it works. How much does World War II influence your foreign policy views? Well, I think what happened in World War II and has definitely been used in ways that for America are unfortunate. And I mean, in terms of my foreign policy views, like strategy, the United States, what we did in World War II, you would have to go through some serious revisionist history to, I understand there's a big thing about, more support for Germany, and what we did has led to this, and where we're at today, it's a big problem. I mean, based off of where we were in World War II, it's hard to say we would have acted much differently. But I do think World War II has shaped the modern... It's definitely shaped things in the modern sense of politics, and it's just, you really can't, especially the European countries, but here, even in the United States, any of the West, you really can't form any type of, pro-white thing, because it's just going to be compared to the Nazis. So it's interesting. Not even, I mean, even something like, when they try and have white settlements, they're not even able to do that. Short males are worse. Height is a big thing for chicks. I think it's also a big thing for guys. I mean, not to the same degree, I'll agree with you, but I mean, I think it's understandable that the guy is taller than the woman. Not in every relationship, but that's just kind of the dynamic that people want. Kai is a dude name. I think the only time I heard Kai was it might be like for both genders, but the only time I heard Kai was like a short name for Kyrie Irving. That's the only time I've heard Kai. It might be like a short form or something, short version of something. How old would you date a woman? It's with men, it's your age or preferably younger. I mean, it depends, but it's gonna be, you'd want the girl to be younger. The girl wants the guy to be older. Do you still trust Trump amid the Epstein issues? Well, I mean, the Epstein thing is a little bit separate. I mean, Trump is kind of, he's been in office for a while. He's been in the political spotlight. So the Epstein thing is kind of hard to wrap your head around, just because it's so self-inflicted. And still no sub counter. Let's get it. Have a good night. Yeah, I'm going to have to add it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm going to end it there. I will see you guys later. I didn't think I would do a stream that long, but I caught a second wind, I guess, through the stream. That liberal guy was, that was good. That was good. Oh yeah, Kai Cenat. No. I did know Kai, kind of. I mean, I don't. obviously don't watch his content, but yeah, Kai Cenat's a major streamer. Longest stream since Trump strikes Iran. I might have had like a few other ones after that. Because I did a bunch of streams that were pretty long during that period. But I will see you guys later.